Hello, everybody. Hi. We're here again, this time on the Gamesline podcast. What's good, everybody? Hello.
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 I'm
Hey,
so
what's
glad
going on?
that we're all here to talk about gaming in 2025, the year of gaming. It's always the year of gaming. Isn't that exciting?
I mean, until next year when they cancel gaming forever.
I
They
hate
what?
that.
Yeah,
hate
like
that so
they
much.
they announced it and everything.
No, I don't want that to happen.
What is the year most of gaming?
I'm not sure. I feel like it would just be gaming is every year since gaming first occurred. It's when it's been good, I think. Folks, it's me, John. I'm here hosting once again, live on twitch.tv/GameslineTV. And if you are listening to this afterwards, you can find us again. Twitch.tv/GameslineTV at 5 p.m. Central. Just about. We don't start directly on time usually because we're people who have things we have to do. But I'm here, and with me this time, we're mostly on time. With me this time is Jackson. Jackson, you are here. Hello.
Oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, no, I took a break, but now I'm back, and now I have I have my real webcam on, as you can tell.
Yes, extremely real. Maybe the realest possible thing.
I just look like this. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. You're like 3 frames a second. It's cool. It's good. Yeah, good. Crystal, you're here.
That's right. I'm here once again.
And you've got the strength in you right now. I'm hearing that. You're like, yes, I am here. I'm ready.
Gotta inject some vigor into the show.
Yes, that's right. That's what I want to hear. And Lily, 3 for 3 so far.
Yeah, you
Congrats.
can't get rid of me. I'm like an infestation.
Oh no. Whatever will we do? Someone I like to talk to on Gamesline.tv.
Oh,
.net.
shucks.
But yeah, gaming has occurred this past week again. It's something that we all have to wrestle with, and that's just something that we're gonna have to deal with together as a group. I would like to check in as well, what everyone has been up to otherwise. Jackson, you have been goings on and all that. What's new? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Oh, there's been a lot. It's the year of gaming. We had a new co-op friend game come out called Peak, and obviously right away I had to jump in on that because of my nasty streamer lifestyle. And like it's one of those like the trend of co-op games coming out, and it's really fun, but it's a little different in the fact that like they don't really tell you what the game is about. They kind of advertise it in one way, and then when you start playing it, it's like, oh no, this is actually a really difficult game where you actually need to cooperate with people. It's not a funny haha like, oh, I'll get scared, I'll clip it and post it on socials. It is like no, you need to actually be locked in to play this game right now. Don't even think about doing bits. You have crash landed on an island and you need to climb right now.
Okay. Because I know that there's been games like that before, like there's like the chain together one or whatever, where it's like 3 players and you're trying to climb up stuff. And I mean, it's not exactly the same, but I just know that there's like a group of those co-op games that are just like, oh yeah, you're going out and collecting things, and it's like a RIP or whatever that game is called, and or Lethal Company. I keep almost saying Limbus Company.
Oh yeah, like Lethal and Repo. Yeah.
Repo, that's right. Those kinds of games. But then I feel like there's another genre, I suppose, that is just the you need to watch the fuck out or you're going to die. those games.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because it's between Landfall and Aggro Crab, which I'm like, I didn't know those two companies had any sort of like intersection with each other, but because it's landfall and like they've done like Cluster Truck and a bunch of other like really silly games. You would go in expecting like, oh, this is gonna be really funny, really silly, haha, and then the aggro crab kicks in of no, this is danger. You are in danger.
I think what I saw is it came from a game jam that they did, so maybe that's why they have that overlap. They were at the same game jam and made it, which is
Okay, I had
interesting.
no idea. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I may be lying. I'm sorry, everybody. You're gonna have to kill me for this one. I think that's what I saw on Blue Sky, though. Okay, so if I was misinformed, it's not my fault. It's someone else's. It's always someone else's. But yeah, good to know that so is it a good time though? Is it really fun?
It is fun. Starting out is so difficult, but I'm like, oh, this is a mountain climbing game. So it makes sense for it to be hard in the beginning until you finally figure out how to climb a mountain.
Yeah, they don't do that every day. You're climbing a mountain's a hard job, Oh yeah, let's see here. We got the trailer here. Okay, yeah, it's a okay, it's like a little, is it third person or first person?
It's first person, and then like you can
Okay,
customize your little camper while you're climbing up, and then last time we logged on there was a timer, like they rotate the island that you climb, so you have a limited amount of time to scale a certain mountain before they switch it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that seems like a neat little thing. Like it definitely doesn't seem like one of those like, kind of hack together. Like I'm not to say that like a lot of those games are cheap cash-ins or whatever, but this one definitely seems like it is a good amount of effort, and it's definitely something that will last for a while, from what I can tell. I think this is.
Oh yeah, no, they've already like shown like update plans and whatnot, and because it's landfall, there's a back door where the developers can come in and just straight, like, pardon my French, they fuck with you. Like they fuck with your game while you're playing it. Like if you're streaming it and they're like, oh, let's find your game ID, and they'll just backdoor it and completely mess with you the entire time for their own sick, twisted pleasure.
That's really cool. I'm glad to hear about that. That's fun.
What did they do to mess with you?
There was a video going around where they backdoored because there's like a little plushie you can get at the beginning in the crashed plane named Bing Bong, and one of the developers was just talking through the plushie the entire time and like giving really bad advice and whatnot. And then for our playthrough specifically, they just kept spawning boulders. They just would drop boulders on us, even if we're like open air, no rocks above us, just random boulder drop on us. I'm like, okay, this is great. This is not impeding my progress.
Well, that's neat. That is neat.
It's such an interesting title, and I recommend everybody check it out because I think it's still on sale right now on Steam for like $4.50.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Crystal, how about yourself? What's going on in your end? What's new?
I started playing Final Fantasy IX. Played about half of the first disc.
Okay.
That game looks absolutely gorgeous. I like looking at it. It looks like a storybook. Everything's very like round. There's no sharp edges to anything. Now the problem is that they wrote it bad. It was kind of shocking to me how
Choose your words carefully.
Scott's doing our production, and I
right.
think that this is his favorite one. So
choose your words carefully.
So I was reading developer interviews, and one dev said like one of our main goals with the story is to make it easy to understand. And it is. It feels a lot like, like an animated children's adventure film. Um, One of the tropes of an animated children's adventure film that they decided to incorporate is just a little sprinkle of misogyny to it. Like you come off 7 and 8 where it feels like they put a lot of effort into writing the woman, and in this one it's like, okay, so there's Garnet, who's this like naive princess who basically doesn't do anything in the section that I played. And then you have her mom, the evil queen, who is cartoonishly corpulent, so you know that she's evil.
I mean,
yeah,
fair.
So I guess, maybe it'll get a little better as it goes on, but I suspect that 5 years from now, I will still remember the way that this game looks, but probably not remember anything that happens in it.
I don't want to like this is y'all podcast. I just want to chime in real quick, just because I love this game. But yes, it does in fact take what's there and do really really interesting stuff with it. Like it starts very like fantasy book style and then goes very very cool places. I think you're gonna like it.
Lily, I know you're a big RPG head. Do you have anything to say about Final Fantasy IX or?
I think those are like fair criticisms for the intro to that game because I think it kind of inherently wants to. Well, the thing with Final Fantasy by and large is kind of its interesting inversion of the more traditional Western fantasy tropes. And it's like kind of undeniable that they do sometimes rely on the, you know, evil can be scars and corpulence and things like that. I think a big thing with Final Fantasy IX, especially with as it being written, um, they I'm not going to say that it's like an inversion of any of the things that you're saying. Like it gets you with that in the first part. I'd kind of say that the introduction of Final Fantasy IX, while it's a game that I really enjoy, is kind of unfortunately like the worst part of that game. It has the weakest beginning of any of the PS1 era Final Fantasies. And I think without giving anything away for like a first timer experiencing it, there's more to it than just that.
I hope so. What is everyone's favorite Finals fantasy?
Tactics.
Okay.
God, it's not your turn. Go click on buttons.
Sorry.
I mean, I could do the very basic answer and say Final Fantasy VI. Like that's like the boring answer.
Mhm.
It's your answer.
It is, but it's still like one of those things where it was the story that I experienced in the beginning, so it kind of impacted me the most. But I think like if I was going to pick something a little bit more like if we're talking from like a games perspective rather than like an emotional resonance perspective, I do really really like 8.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm gonna apply some chapstick because my lips are a little dry.
What do you like
It's
about
very
8?
it's very hot.
So the thing is, for the most part, a lot of Final Fantasies kind of start with an almost like terse amount of options. Like you barely have anything to do in the introductory parts of those games. And the thing that I like about 8 so much is it's kind of not afraid to overwhelm you with the junction system. And you have all of these interesting decisions to make with junctioning if you're like me and you don't like using a guide. So I kind of liked that it was like a fun type of experimentation rather than like some of the more in-depth character building like JRPGs for sickos, but it was like a mid-ground between the absolute most simple character building and something a little bit more complex.
Okay, very cool.
John, what about you?
I have played 3 or 4 Final Fantasy games, and I've only completed one of them. And the one that I finished is Final Fantasy XIII.
That's an awesome game.
And I thought it was, yeah. There was some aspects that I kind of liked. I like the combat. I think the characters are very underwritten, and I think that all the stuff complaining about it being a bunch of hallways. It's overblown, but it's also true, because I just think that not enough is happening, and then you get to this open world, and then there's also not really anything happening there. It's just like, oh hey, you can do these extra battles, and they're good, but I kind of wish that they had just spread that out throughout the game instead of just clumping it onto you right at, I guess, the like 3/4 point.
Sorry, go on.
There's a lot of stuff that I kind of respect about that game, and that I understand is kind of a sort of symptom of the time, because it was very much that leap between the two generations, and all the difficulty of trying to do HD development all of a sudden that Square Enix was going through. But at the same time, I can only put up with so much, but I did almost 100% that game too, so I don't know. I don't know what that tells you. But then I've played the Final Fantasy VII remake, and I've tried Tactics Advance, and I don't really like tactics games, so that's another one where I'm kind of just like, I respect it, but it's not really my bag. I don't know. I need to play more of them. I played a little bit of 6, and I was like, this is pretty cool, but I haven't. The only one I finished is 13.
I have complex feelings around 13, and I think they kind of tie into video games, like, as a whole. And I will say something confusing, and then I will explain it with future statements, but bear
Go
with
ahead.
me for a second. All video games, by their very nature, like any other piece of art, is magic tricks.
Yep.
When we play video games, we kind of get into these like positions where we're like, how good are they at making us believe this fake space is a real one?
Mhm.
And compare something like Final Fantasy X versus Final Fantasy XIII. Final Fantasy X is kind of in the same way, a hallway for most of it. And because the magic trick of it is kind of executed a little better, we can almost pretend that we're not in a hallway, because, as you said, the character writing is a little bit more present and granular.
Mhm.
And it's that same kind of thing where my personal belief is that video games work best as an impressionistic medium.
Mhm.
And by that I mean, I don't need a fully rendered, fully detailed, fully explorable but empty city a la Final Fantasy XV.
Mhm.
As long as you give me enough of an impression of a city, I can believe the magic trick.
Yeah,
And
because
so
the thing is with Final Fantasy 13, like, something that I was thinking about when I was playing it was, I was just like, all of these hallways, that's how the older games were set up. You know, you think about walking through a dungeon, like, that's what they are. They're just a bunch of like straight areas that you're just walking through, you know, like in the like RPG, like the 16-bit days and all that. It's not like it's any different. It's just, it breaks that illusion a little bit when you're in the 3D space and you're seeing all this other stuff happening in the distance. Like, you know, that opening scene where you're like on that big like bridge or whatever area, and all that stuff's going on, and it kind of you can partially let the illusion go because you're seeing all this stuff happening, and it's very much like you're on this bridge trying to go from point A to point B. But it's also like all this stuff that's happening all over there, and then you're just thinking that you're going straight. It's like, you know, it's gonna mess with the illusion a little bit, but you know, I don't fully agree with the hallway critique, because again, that is just like how those old games were. But it's also just like, yeah, like you get to a point where you get to that open world, and it's not like I don't want there to be this, like, I don't care about the open world specifically. It's just like, I just wish that they had spread that out more instead of just clumping it all together and being like, okay, well, here's this area and here's stuff. kind of. It just it feels like an unfinished game, which might just be like more modern sensibilities trying to be projected onto this older game.
Maybe, but I also think that even in older games, like if we go really, really far back, because if I could push back a little bit against like dungeons being a hallway, a well-designed dungeon should be a series of decisions rather than rote, combat in this room, combat in this room, combat in this room, and combat in this room. Which this is my dungeon master experience talking here, but if a dungeon doesn't have interesting branching paths that kind of rely on you intersecting and making perhaps mutually exclusive decisions, it can't really be said that it's a particularly good or interesting dungeon. And in a kind of way, video games are kind of the products of the decisions they allow you to make. It's kind of what makes immersive sims stick out so much in people's heads, because even if those spaces are really, really tiny, the amount of decisions you get to make are really quite huge for the space that you're allowed to interact with them in. And again, it's that same kind of thing. With something like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, you have all of these decisions you can make. You have the sphere grid, you have all of these different kinds of things. And again, while the gameplay may be individually like fun, I think like the biggest critique you can have against it is that it has so honed in the experience to a point where you're not really making any decisions other than what is the most structurally optimal one.
I would say that the Famicom games are not linear at all. I think Final Fantasy One especially has a very good sense of exploration, both in the overworld and the dungeons. But definitely starting from 4, it starts getting pretty tightly directed from 4 to 8 and probably into 9, with the exception of the back half of FF6. And then FF13, I think, gets a lot worse after they introduce the open world. I like the very tightly directed FPS like first half of that game. It feels very much like a successor to Final Fantasy IV, where every battle is like part of the script,
It goes by at a way better clip. Like once you hit that open world, it like I said, like it is this big clump. Like it feels like you're in a tube, and then you're 3/4 of the way through that tube, and there's just this big like clump of dirt, and you're having to chip away at the dirt to get through to the end. Basically, it's like you're sliding down a water slide or something. That's what it feels like.
I think the tension I started feeling with the Final Fantasy games, starting with 4, is that the like tightly paced narrative and the dungeoneering aspects work against each other. I think you kind of can't have both without diluting them. So I would rather they focus strongly on one or the other.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem with 13 is that they split the difference too much. And that's like the problem, I would say. Like I don't think it's an absolute dog shit game. Like I know there's a lot of people that are like, Final Fantasy 13, that's a piece of shit. Nah. Like no, I actually like have some attachment to oh my god, my hair. I have some attachment to some of those characters, like I think Zaz he's one of my favorite like RPG characters that I've experienced just because he has a really relatable back and forth and a personal struggle where he's trying to like figure out like am I going to help out my kid, am I going to help out the world, am I going to help out myself? Like I thought that was really interesting. And some of the other characters I think kind of sucked, but that's any game. But and I think it sets up interesting stuff with lightning and all that, and it makes me want to check the other ones out. I think it's kind of crazy that I don't know if they were setting up 13, 2, and 3 right from the get-go, but it feels like it because there's so much stuff that they kind of leave hanging where I'm just like, okay, yeah, I guess it's good that you got to make 13, 2, and 3 because it's, I mean, obviously you don't need everything answered, but some of those choices are weird. I don't know. Basically, I will play more of them because I am an RPG guy. I like to play JRPGs, so I will play more of them. But that's the only one that I've played so far. And I just think it's a little funny. Jackson, do you have a favorite Final Fantasy?
I'm just saying here. I feel like I have bias because the first Final Fantasy I ever played was 7, like original 7, and
Sure.
it really stuck with me. And then I went to try to play 8, and I went, "What is this? This isn't this isn't anything like the game I played before." So I went
It's not the
further
same.
back. It's not the same. It doesn't play like 7. It's so weird. I don't know who this Squall guy is. Where's Cloud? Where's Tifa? I just didn't understand at the time that every Final Fantasy was its own like condensed little story.
Mhm.
But I went back after 7 and I played 1 through 6 and I was like, okay, I get it. I get where the division is, where they decided like we kind of need to modernize this in order to keep an audience.
Mhm.
And then I think my favorite, honestly, it might be 10. As weird as that is to say out of all of them, like 10 just has such like a weird like polarizing story after playing 9, like 9 being more like this like, oh, we need to relate it more to like children's fantasy and storybooks and whatnot, and then 10 being this very like immediately introduction to Waka, who is like, if you are Albed, I hate you, like introducing introducing like racial biases and stuff after playing 9, and I'm like, whoa, what are we doing here? What's going
Mhm.
on? It's just like such a weird direction to take the series in, and I think it's so funny to me that they
Mhm.
did it all through Titus, like the most like goofiest pro tag you can have in a Final Fantasy game, Titus,
Mhm.
to like have all these really heavy narrative themes in your game, and I don't know, it's just weird, like talking about like the linearity and how the hallway metaphor and whatnot. I think it is apparent in 13 a little bit, but the fact that like they wanted to continue that story, like there was a push internally to be like, hey, we should probably like continue this narrative so that way we get our own like natural like closure and conclusion to everything that's going on.
Mhm.
And it's very apparent because like jumping from 13 to 13.2, you're like, oh, they recognized some of the issues that people were having with the first 13, and we want to make amends to that. And then 13.3, or is 13.3 is Lightning Returns? No.
Yes, that's
So yeah,
13.3.
and then yeah, you get to Lightning Returns, and it's like we kind of fixed a lot of stuff. Now this is just a game for us. Like this is just stuff we wanted to add in, and like storylines we wanted to wrap up, or like new things we wanted to introduce, but really couldn't in the time
Mhm.
span. It's just I don't know. And then you you go from the 13 games, you jump into 14 with a big old MMO, and they needed to completely overhaul everything. And then you get Boys Trip, and then you get Man Guilt Trip in 16. I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing with this series. I want them to get weird with it again. I miss the weirdness.
I mean, I think in a big way, and it's a conversation that I've had with John before, where Final Fantasy kind of has what I would almost describe as almost a difficult translation to what they want as a series with Vision. Because when you compare it to the game that was always like its competitor, rival, etc., Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest has not really felt that kind of compulsive need to reinvent itself every single time it releases. Obviously, you have like the more experimental games like Dragon Quest Builder and all of that kind of stuff. I really do feel like the issue that we are seeing with and I think it was something that maybe we said last week, where a lot of non-Western developers feel this need to prove themselves, and they need to kind of compete with stuff like The Witcher or Cyberpunk, but I still think that because they are, like, muddying the waters with what their game even is anymore, because to me, like, obviously people when, like, they are talking about something like a CRPG, where it's like, I have complete control over the, the things that we make, the decisions I make, the character, what they look like. That is a type of role playing. But I also think that like Final Fantasy has always kind of been about this sort of you are role playing in the sense that you are confining yourself intentionally to a script. And so you are role playing in the sense as you are adopting the role of a character. And in so doing, this kind of internalized like need to compete with all of these Western games, they have kind of lost what was magic about those games in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, 16 is just so very much like they watched Game of Thrones and they went, "Oh shit." So,
I mean, it's
for
that, and they even hired like what a bunch of the Witcher 3 voice acting talent.
sounds right. I couldn't tell you exactly. I mean, the only thing that I know off the top of my head is Ben Starr and the guy who's gonna play Galactus is in there. Those are the two people that I know.
All this to say, everyone should play Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster, the perfect fusion of narrative and dungeoneering.
Yeah, I'll probably pick up that like Pixel Remaster physical eventually because they keep printing it. I think they're overcharging for it. Still new, but I see it used every once in a while. I'm just like, okay, maybe. So
I just don't enjoy looking at it.
Sure.
There's my one hater point I will allow myself to have this week's podcast.
You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to come down on you at all. You can talk about what you don't like. You can talk about what you like. That's what we're here for.
Hating is so fun.
I
I do prefer liking, but
I don't know. I feel like haterism is all well and good up until the point where you're completely unable to concede that something has any positive qualities in any capacity, and then that's where you end up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Lily, sorry to kind of just circle right back to you, but what have you been up to, I guess, recently? I don't want to just pigeonhole you into gaming. Has there been anything else that you've been going on, or?
Well, fun fact, even my off-gaming hobbies contain gaming.
Oh,
So unfortunately, most of my past week has either been me with my head in my hands, still working on this novel, or I did have the experience of going to the mall yesterday, and I actually have not been in an actual brick and mortar GameStop for I think I want to say 5 years now. Those have
that way.
become some of the most depressing stores I think I have ever seen.
Yeah, I have kind of mixed feelings about it, and I know it's kind of insane to be like, I have mixed feelings about GameStop. Uh, but there's some decent aspects to it in the sense that if you're lucky, you can go there and you can find cheap retro games now. They just have the retro games there now, and they are underpriced, like good price. But
Yeah, I mean, I went to the retro section and they do have some like PS2 stuff up on there. They had
yeah,
a non special edition version of DMC3 that they were selling for $34. I don't know what's up with that, but um I don't know. It's like at this point I was kind of watching like if y'all have been to like a mall in the past 10 years, there have been like an uptick in like the like cultural niche that Hot Topic fell into, like a bunch of stores where it's like we sell anime figures, we sell stuff from Japan.
mm,
GameStop is like rapidly trends like it's becoming absolutely indistinguishable from that, where this particular GameStop, 75% of it was Funko Pops or replicas of Master Chief's helmet or a bunch of t-shirts. And then in like a little tiny booth on the side, it was also you can buy Nintendo Switch 2 games, I guess.
yeah, it's because they bought ThinkGeek. And so they just incorporated all that extra stuff into their wheelhouse. And I mean, I think it's bad, but I don't know. I mean, like there's some slightly good aspects to it because it's just like, oh yeah, you can go in and buy a pack of Pokemon cards sometimes. Not that often actually, now that I think about it. But I mean, for a while you could, but not right now. But yeah, there's so much stuff in there where it's just like, yeah, we have been sitting on this Master Chief helmet for 4 years, and they won't let us put the price down at all, so it's still $180, and it's just sitting there, just a
Oh,
little
I mean,
funny.
it was like actually like entering a forbidden tomb because I blew on it just to see what would happen, and a mushroom cloud worth of dust rose up off of it.
Yeah, some Indiana Jones shit for sure. And yeah, the Funko Pops too. There's so many fucking Funko Pops. It's bad. I mean, but that's like any hobby store like that. Like, I go to a lot of card game stores and all that, and there's usually at least a section with some Funko Pops, and comic shops have those. And I mean, I don't know, like people are still buying them. Like, I remember my last job, it was I worked at an arcade, and we had Funko Pops as prizes, and they were pretty consistent prizes. Like people would just be like, yeah, I'll spend 3,000 tickets on a really ugly Charizard statue. That's what I want. But the problem is that so I guess I'll give you a little background information about Funko Pops. The reason why there are always so many of them, just all over the walls and everything, is that they will send you like bundles. You don't just get to necessarily be like, okay, I want this one and this one. They'll be like, okay, yeah, if you want the the Clefairy one or whatever, you can get 4 of those. But in that box, there's going to be 2 of like the mascot for Crayola, like the Crayola crayon is going to be in there. Like, they just send you stuff that's not related to it whatsoever, so that way you have to try to get rid of those, and they just pile up because you're like, well, I sold all my Pokemon ones, I sold all of my like sports ones, but nobody's buying Bruce Springsteen, which, like, I mean, there's probably someone who will eventually, but it's just not really like the same layer. Like,
Mhm.
you go to GameStop and people aren't going to be like, man, I want to get a Funko Pop of an old rock star. It's like, no, there's not really overlap for that.
They're just
It's
dumping all of the junk on you.
Kinda. I mean, it's like a diversification sort of thing, but kinda, I guess so, yeah.
That, and you have like the weird archaicisms where there's still stuff that's trying to compete with Best Buy in there, and they're like, yeah,
Mhm.
you can come in here and buy a $64 USB-C cable.
A really bad one, but
Mhm.
one. I remember they were trying to sell phones for a hot minute at GameStop. That was just weird.
Or you could buy an iPod.
Or yeah, iPod, iPad, stuff like that. Like, that kind of makes sense, but like still, it just, I don't know. And then they're doing PSA grading now, which is literally just them like like all it is just they're just like sending it off for you. So they're just like kind of taking a cut of your, I mean, it's not even like profits or whatever. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna send them off for you, and then you have to pay us depending on what it gets graded. I don't know. I mean, I think all that stuff is stupid anyway, but whatever. It's whatever. Yeah, someone in chat is saying, I remember back when the one in my town had an N-Gage display many moons ago. That was the good era, when you could buy N-Gage games at the store. That's how it should be, You should be able to walk into any store and still purchase N-Gage content in a just
I
world.
think the funniest interaction I had in a GameStop was caused by when they were really trying to push the VR stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they really clearly told like the guy working there, like play with the VR thing and look like you're having a good time and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just a queue of people watching this guy who works there at the GameStop, watching him play VR games. And your eyes are covered while you're doing that.
You can't see what these people are seeing. Oh my god.
And so people were like, "Hey, can I buy a game?" And you're basically having the GameStop employee going like, "Hold on. I'm
Hang on a
gaming."
minute.
Well, like that's I remember like early GameStop, like that would have been fine because like younger me walking into a GameStop being like, yeah, I want to get this like Xbox 360 game, and the two dudes behind the counter are playing like Halo 3 1v1 SWAT, and they're like, yeah, hold on, give us a sec, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's great, that's fine. But if I walked in and I saw some dude in the middle of the shop playing with a VR helmet, I'm walking out. Like, there's no space for me to walk around the store. Why am I gonna bother?
Well, it was
Yeah,
like
there was
it was like a zoo display. He was just like in the middle of the store.
throw peanuts at him. But no, I mean, like the difference. There was definitely like a different kind of culture too back then, because it is so like uptight about it now, or it's just like, and also because of how like understaffed it is too. Like, okay, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but I purchased Raidou Kuzunoha on Nintendo Switch 2 this past week. So I bought the game key card, everybody. I'm so sorry. But I originally ordered it from GameStop. I went to my nearest GameStop and just bought a copy, thought it was going to be fine. The day that it came out, I went over and I've done this before, pre-ordered something at a GameStop, walked in, they had it. I walked into that one and talked to the guy at the register, and he said, "Oh yeah, no, we haven't done inventory in a while, so we don't know if we have that or not, and we're not going to know for a while. We don't know when we're going to know if we have it."
Huh?
Huh? I'm sorry.
So
What did he do?
they told me to try again tomorrow. That is what they said. So I went home and I tried to call like GameStop corporate, because I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna tell on them. I wasn't gonna do that. I was just gonna be like, hey, can I transfer my pre-order to another store, or something like that. Just, I didn't want anyone to get in trouble, but I also was just like, hey, this is really weird. And I couldn't get into contact with anybody, so I ended up just buying another copy at Best Buy because they just had them at Best Buy, and then but then I had to go back to that store to cancel my order because GameStop corporate actually called me back later. Like, they didn't even, when I called them, they didn't even get back to me right then. They put me on like one of those like scheduled callbacks, and then like hours later they called me back, and I was just like, yeah, can I just cancel it? And they said, no, you have to go to the store. So I went to the store, and the same guy was there, and I went through the process of canceling it, and the dude was just like, yeah, all of our managers are sick, and I'm like the only person here today, so I haven't really been able to do stuff because people just keep coming in to trade stuff in, and nobody's really buying anything right now. So we have been just trying to deal with all the trade-ins. And to punctuate that, I remembered while I was there, someone had walked in with a big box of stuff to trade in. And when I was leaving right then and there, like 2 other people walked in with a bunch of stuff to trade in. So he was absolutely telling the truth. I don't know. That's it seems like a real mess of a company right now. Obviously, they should be paying their staff better and be staffing better, so that way there's not one person running the store and they can't figure out how many games they have. Like, I'm not blaming that person, absolutely not. It is just like, yeah, it just sounds like a complete shit show, and I will probably not be ordering games from there. The thing is, though, is like usually ordering through their website is fine because they have like free shipping on like basically on new games. So if you just pre-order something, it's free shipping and it'll usually show up like on the day or maybe the day after. So it's not that bad, but
Damn, you
When
really
whatever.
shopped at the games, comma, stop.
Yeah, they stopped the games. They really did. They're really trying to stop the games there.
When is the last time you walked into a retail establishment and felt that it was well or even adequately staffed?
Costco.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah.
If I had to
I mean-
answer, I would. Funnily enough, it's not Costco. It is our local competitor, BJ's.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I've been to like Walmarts and Targets and stuff that were decent, but it wasn't really something that like I noticed. I would say, like if it was. I mean, now that I think about it, like I do remember like going to Walmart or something like semi recently and having to jump through all the hoops of being like, I want to buy socks, and I have to summon someone to open the case for me to get socks because they because the CEO is hallucinating that people are going to steal all the socks in the store if you don't lock them up. So I had to wait for somebody to open that up. And that did take a little bit. So maybe that was understaffing, or maybe the button on the thing was broken. I don't know. But it took a little bit. So I don't know.
The trend for all retail for quite some time now seems to be to staff as much as skeleton of a crew as you possibly can, which I think is just further damaging retail because going to a store to buy something kind of sucks compared to ordering online.
I mean, that's my conspiracy theory at this point, that we're just approaching an age where stores aren't places for customers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to do the like drive up already having ordered everything so we can just put it in your car and then you'll leave, because it minimizes shoplifting risk and all of these other things that they hallucinate being massive problems.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a digression for a different podcast.
Do we have which podcast? Are we starting another podcast? Are you starting another podcast?
We're starting the current events podcast right now.
Uh-oh.
I gotta go.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you, but But anything else about the mall you want to talk about? Is that the current event that you want to talk about? The mall trip?
Yeah, I mean that was like my experience, was actually being at like a brick and mortar place that sells video games. Real depressing stuff. I really do think that GameStop has quickly become like one of the most depressing retail outlets.
Yeah, there's a very evil part of me that was hopeful with GameStop announcing that they're coming back into the retro games sector. I was hoping that it was going to push prices down, because it kind of did. Because like I said, if you find something at GameStop, there is a good chance that it is going to be lower price than the going rate on like eBay or at other retro game stores. But they just haven't pushed it enough to make it a big draw. So nobody's just going there and getting a bunch of stuff. Like they spread it out so thinly. Like there's only like a few games at each location, and they're just spreading them out and not really highlighting that they're there. It's just like, oh yeah, here's the PS4, PS5 section, and then at the bottom of it in like a corner, there's like a few PS2 games, and it's just like they're not highlighting any aspect of it. If they were like, hey, we have these old games, isn't that cool? If they put them in like a case or whatever, and maybe replace the fucking Funko Pops with them, it would probably be successful and it would drive down prices, and then retro game stores would have to drive their prices down to compete. And like, I'm not trying to say like fuck all the stores, they need to be selling for pennies, but also a lot of those stores are overcharging because they can get away with it because of how bad things got during the pandemic. And
I mean, I also feel like in a
fuck
big
them.
way, like the average person doesn't even know because they don't even advertise like the retro stuff anywhere
Yeah.
in the store. So, as our duty to provide knowledge to the common gamer, if you want a really really beat up copy of the PS2 version of SSX3 or SOCOM 2 US Navy SEALs for like $45, you can check out GameStop.
Sometimes in good shape. That's the thing, is like you really do have to go and you have to look. Sometimes you find a gem, a nice gem. Like I saw they had a copy of like Dragon Quest 9 on PS2 in like really good shape for like $20. That's not bad. I
would
didn't pick
accept
it up.
that.
It's not bad. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's kind of just what I did too. I guess I kind of told my story about what I've been up to.
You've been getting victimized by GameStop also.
Yes, I got far more personally victimized by GameStop. I guess I could talk a bit about Raidou, unless someone is like, man, I really want to talk about something. Is there somebody that's like, I need to talk about something, or can I just be an SMT nerd for a little bit?
I'm curious about Raidou because I have a press package sitting in my living room right now, and I'm like, do I pop it open? Do I just I don't know what to do with it, so I'm curious your take on it.
You can pop it open and check it out, I think, because I really like what I've played so far of Raidou Kuzunoha, the Mystery of the Soulless Army, the remake of Raidou Kuzunoha on the PS2. I have played the original, so I'm not just coming at this completely blind like some folks may have. No hate on that. I don't know why they call it a remaster. It is a remake. They completely redid the combat, or at the very least, just updated it to be more in line with how the combat was in the sequel, which they really needed to do because the combat in the original version of the game was bad. It was really bad. Yeah, like Scott saying in the chat, like remaster and remake are fake terms. Like it could just mean whatever. The going theory is that they didn't call it a remake because there isn't a new Atlas girl in this one, so they couldn't legally call it that.
What has changed?
The combat, they redid. They made the art all HD. I'm not somebody that's too like pissy about like the shadows and the art style and stuff. Yes, that was Rasputin in the trailer. Yes, it was. Someone in the chat asked that, and yes, it was. I think it looks fine. Like I understand when people are like, oh man, it did look a little bit more like dark and grimy in the original game, but whatever. I think it looks good.
Does it look better?
I mean, again, like it's really up to interpretation. It doesn't, that kind of stuff just doesn't matter that much to me, in that like I am fine looking at it. It just looks more modern. And so I know that there's people that are just like, I miss how it looked on the PS2. And there's aspects of it that I get, but there's also like people complaining about like the colors of the demons, and it's like, yeah, they updated they're keeping it consistent with how the demons look in games recently. Like they're just, it's not like they sat there and they were like, we're gonna make this demon look bad. It's like, no, that's just how that demon looks with the art style now. So
They're homogenizing it, it sounds like.
I suppose.
What sucked about the
But
original combat?
it did not have very many options for you to engage with. It was very mashy. This is still kind of mashy, but there's a few more layers to it. You can very quickly switch to your gun to do bullet damage. You can use 2 demons now in your combat instead of just 1, which does improve a lot of the flow because Raidou's doing a lot of the like melee damage and all that because he's got his sword and all and et cetera, et cetera. But you would have in the PS2 version, you would have the 1 demon, and you would be like, okay, you'd basically just be like, okay, they should be doing consistent elemental damage towards whatever enemies that you're up against. Usually whatever they're weak to. But now, because you have 2, you can be like, okay, I can have someone doing elemental damage, and then I can have someone doing healing or buffing or whatever else too. So it just gives you more options, and it doesn't, you're not constantly swapping. Like, yes, you're swapping here and there, but it's not like you're sitting there and just being like, oh, I need to be just in menus constantly. Like, no, you don't have to do that, which does make the gameplay quite a bit more snappy. But otherwise, you're just kind of going around doing detective sort of stuff. You can, you're interviewing people, and then you're also using demon powers to unlock things. And it's very basic stuff where it'll just be like, oh, I have a fire demon, so I can ignite people's hearts, and then they get all excited, and then there's a better chance that they might let something slip because they're all hyped up. Or, there's you can cool them down too. If someone's too angry, you can make them a little more calm and stuff like that with an ice demon. So you're basically just, they want you to just have like 1 of each type of demon at the very least. It's pretty basic, like action hack and slash sort of thing, but it's got a cool scenario. You're just this cool guy, Raidou Kuzunoha the 14th, and you're secret detective with demons, and you're going around with your cool sword and your cool gun and your cool outfit with a cape and your cat that can talk to you. And SMT is vibes. SMT is a lot of vibes, and I eat those vibes up. So I'm eating this up. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, but I am also just an SMT head, so you can kind of take that take that into consideration, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a summer where I played like Devil Survivor, Soul Hackers, Shin Megami Tensei 4, 3, like all back to back, and I realized, wait, all of these games have exactly the same story and they're mechanically very similar. The only difference is the vibes. So I hope that the vibes are good.
Yeah, but God, vibes. God, those vibes though. The story is very different here because it is far more small. It is, it's still like a kind of a government conspiracy sort of thing, but it's not the entire world is ending. You need to pick a side. It's not that. It is, shit's going down in Tokyo and you need to solve it. Which I think is a good way to do it. A more small scale event instead of a world ending scenario. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I would recommend this if you like hack and slash kind of games, and it's not. I wouldn't call it like a detective game. Like, you're playing as a detective, but it's not like you're doing any like major investigations like Phoenix Wright or sort of stuff. It's it is that PS2 game. Like, it is very much one of those, like, they were experimenting to try to do something new with Shin Megami Tensei on the PS2. But it's one of those things where I hope that they make a new one. I want to see what they do for Raidou in 2027 or 8 or whatever, however long it takes them to make it. It sounds like they're going to, because the director is basically just straight up saying in interviews like, please buy this so we can make another one. Which, hey, you know what? I did. I bought the fucking game key card. So can't blame me for that, I guess. Someone in the chat did say SMT4 is a good one. Yeah, it is. That's one of my favorite games of all time. That was the first one I played, and I really liked it. But I also really like SMT Apocalypse, and I know some people don't like it, but I don't care. Sometimes those power of friendship stories, sometimes they hit. All right, I won't hear it. But yeah, I enjoy it.
I'm curious why they even re-released it and like remade it, because like the Sega numbers came out and like SMT5 Vengeance outselling Persona 3 Reload. So I'm wondering if that was their, like, before those numbers came out, like they had the numbers obviously. So I'm like, I wonder if that was their push to be like, let's see if we can push a little bit more SMT content and see if we can like garner more of that audience, like bring back the old heads and see if we can get new people who are really into SMT5 into now like the Raidou just line of games that we're working on.
So I will say that listing, we can mention that like some of Sega's internal numbers that they had on like an internal conference presentation thing. I wouldn't say it leaked. I think it's just like on their website, and maybe they weren't supposed to be, but people found them and were like, oh my god. So they were counting original SMT5 and Vengeance together.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's not exactly the same, but I would. They pretty consistently want to just do more SMT stuff. From what the director originally said was like, oh, we were just gonna straight port the first Raidou game, and then we started tinkering with it, and we ended up just redoing a lot of stuff and updating a lot of stuff. So, and it really just sounds like the director very specifically wants to do a new one, and is like, okay, we're bringing these back into the public consciousness. Like, I don't know if they're going to do a remake / remaster of the second one. I hope they do, but at the very least, they just want Raidou Kuzunoha in the public consciousness, so that way they can make a third one, because he's cool and it's a neat aspect of SMT that they could definitely capitalize on, like, especially if they get like some character action developer to do the combat instead of it being like that hack and slash, like, which isn't horrible. But if they got someone, I don't know if I'd say Platinum these days, but someone in the same vein as Platinum to do the combat, like, that would be really exciting and that would be really cool. And I'd want to see something like that.
Atlas does love to resell games.
They do. But I mean, when a lot of people were pretty pissed off about the Vengeance stuff at first, but then they were like, oh yeah, no, that new route is like a whole 80-hour route. They basically just made like I don't want to say a sequel, but they just did like a whole nother game with the same map, and also included the original with upgrades. So, paying full price for that, I wasn't too beat, or I understand why people were like,
That's
yeah.
scary. That's scary to put an 80-hour bonus route in your game.
I mean, it wasn't like the bonus route, it was the route. Like, that's the Vengeance route. So I don't know. They basically just made another game, and then they were like, but also if you want to play the original, it's also on here. So yeah, and again, someone in the chat saying we're gonna get 3 or 4 mainline Zeldas between Persona 5 and 6. They got to sell something in the interim. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I was someone who was hoping that they were gonna do the Persona 3 remake, just because I was hoping that they were going to include all the stuff in Portable, but then they didn't, and so I feel less happy about the Persona 3 remake. But whatever. But then I look at Persona 4, like Persona 4 remake, I'm just like, we don't need to do that. Like, Golden's fine. We don't have to do that. But whatever. At
You know,
this
John, you
point,
don't have to whatever it. You can say that it sucks.
I don't feel strongly enough to be like, this sucks. I'm just like, all right, I'm just not gonna interact with this. I guess it's just, it's over there, and I'm just gonna be like, all right.
Crystal's trying to push like a little bit of haterism out of you right now. Like really, like just like, hey, you wanna.
I don't feel strongly enough. Like there's stuff that I hate. There's stuff that I'm pissed about, but there's also stuff where I'm just like, whatever.
I think Atlas has like kind of scummy business practices that they can get away with because they have a very dedicated niche audience.
Mhm. Yeah, me.
Yeah, you. Do we know, is Revival going to be for Persona 4? Is it going to include the golden content, or is it just straight up like SMT Persona 4 remake?
We don't know shit about that game. Like most people legitimately think that they put out that trailer just because of how bad it leaked already. Because the trailer is just like Narukami like walking up and down some roads. So it's like they probably have like a map done and the character model, and that's it. Like I think there was like a there was a in that Sega thing. It said like, oh yeah, no, this game isn't coming out until like after like 2026. So yeah, it's probably nowhere near done. Like they probably don't really have anything to announce or show for it. But there were also some people that were digging into like some of the like little like shots of concept art, where I think some of the stuff that they were showing was stuff that was in Golden. It was like, oh, there's like the scooter that you can ride in Golden. But that could also just be they drew a scooter. So I don't know. Yeah, I think
it needs to be like, oh hey, here's Marie. Like here's straight up like Marie from Golden, and
yeah, here's the trailer again. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, here's some stuff, like it's
I mean,
yeah. Oh man, there's a classroom.
Marie? Why should they include Marie when they could just sell it to you 6 months later?
Yeah, they could do that. I mean,
they know the people will buy it.
Where's my new fighting game? Where's my like Persona 5 Ultimax?
Yeah.
I don't know. Arxis is too busy making Marvel games now, I guess. I don't know.
Arxis has grown beyond Persona games.
Get French Bread to do it. What's French Bread doing? Making more Undernight like DLC? Nah.
Yeah, that's what they're just doing Undernight DLC. So they're done with Melty. But yeah. I don't know. But yes, I enjoy Raidou Kuzunoha. And I will most likely purchase a remaster of the second one if they do that, and I will absolutely buy a new one. So there you go. There's so many people that are just like posting like stupid ass Steam chart shit about that game, and it's like, dog, like really, like it's selling really well in Japan. Like you're fine. They're probably gonna do it. It's okay. Unclench. You'll be okay. But all right. Does anyone want to go next with another game, or should we talk some news?
I'm free to dump about Lies of P. I finally got through all the DLC.
Let's hear it. Tell us about Lies of P. What's that little bastard lying about this time?
Having good game design mostly.
That's
mean. It's mostly the level design that I'm not a fan of. So I think I said 2 podcasts ago now that I was really, really excited for Overture. I can safely say that it's fresh in my mind, given that I came in still sweating from it as we started recording the podcast. I think, like, and again, like, obviously comparing it to FromSoft isn't directly warranted, but at the same time, when you inherently make a Souls-like, you are opening yourself up to that kind of inherent comparison, so I'm free to do it. All of like the Souls-like type DLC has kind of tried to do this even bigger like visual presentation with a lot of the environmental spaces, and I really was kind of let down by the environmental design of most of Lies of P's DLC. I will say the carnival stuff that is mostly shown in the trailer and like the stuff that they lead you into in the beginning, all very cool. I love that they kind of incorporated carnival-y ass like mini games in their Souls like. That's insane.
Mhm.
Not a fan so much of everything that comes afterward. So
Mhm.
I said earlier that a big part of what kind of makes games work as a medium is this kind of extended magic trick where you don't believe that you're in a virtual space.
Mhm.
I think that a lot of Lies of P Overture kind of has this problem where you realize that most of the DLC is kind of like a big underground like passage to this final area. So you spend a lot of the underground sections in different varieties of like gray cold corridors, which compared to like all of the bosses that they add, which are like incredibly interesting, save for a few, but it's kind of sad that like a lot of the level design seems way less interesting than the base game. And a big thing that I noticed, especially with like obviously it's a DLC for a Souls like, it's going to be really hard. The DLC stuff exists to try to destroy you if you try to skip anything.
Okay.
So if you try to run past like any enemies to just death run to get back to where you were, so many of those levels, because of how tight they are and how filled with enemies they are going to absolutely test your patience because they are going to grind you to a complete halt.
Okay.
One particular circumstance of that happening that was particularly grating in my case was there's a big bridge, and Lies of P has this particular type of enemy that basically is like a big shield guy that you kind of just need to deal with because like you can get around him, but they put him on a bridge so you can't sidestep around him. And then they also put a bunch of enemies that are flying but can body block you and explode. And then the area behind that, if you try to backpedal all the way back, is full of dogs.
Oh,
And
no.
we know how I feel about Dark Souls type dogs. These are particularly awful Dark Souls type dogs. So that's like that in microcosm happens a lot in a lot of the DLC's level design. And obviously you could just be like, well, just, kill everything then. That's all well and good where until the point where you just kind of want to move on to the next area. Now that I've gotten all of the negativity out of the way, I will say having a great sword that's also a gunblade is probably the coolest thing in the whole DLC.
Sure, I believe that.
And the thing that kind of always stuck with me about Lies of P's kind of design, kind of similarly with Neo, is that it's kind of like this interesting hybrid between the character action elements of something like Devil May Cry, but also doing that like Soulsian, like you have to manage your stamina and all of that. So they kind of just like get you by making you have to deal with this additional like secondary resource while also dealing with the stamina, which makes a lot of those fights really fun to actually like take apart. And I gotta say, damn it, they made a duo fight in the DLC that I actually really, really like. And I really hate duo fights most of the time in Souls-likes. This one is really, really good.
Why do you usually hate duo fights?
So, a big issue with duo fights is the fact, for me personally, that again, this isn't even like a game design thing. It is like a personal fantasy thing. When people complained about like Dark Souls 2 having like a lot of guys in armor with a sword type fights, I enjoy that kind of thing because the personal fantasy is kind of like the one-on-one duel. And for the most part, the difficulty of those kinds of fights is your footwork, your spatial planning, and things like that. With this fight, it's really interesting because, and I can just say it because they literally showed it in the trailer. It's a fight where you're fighting a puppet and a alchemist at the same time. The way they visually cue who is going to attack next means that rather than playing really passively and hunting for availability in the kind of meter of the fight, you know exactly who's going to attack you and when, so that way they can just speed up the fight and you are rapidly oscillating between both combatants in a way that I think doesn't break the flow the way most duo fights do.
Awesome.
Beyond all that, I beat the Lies of P DLC in like 4 play sessions, so it's pretty beefy for like a Souls-like this, given that it's just like the DLC stuff, but it was good. I can't say that it's particularly like groundbreaking. Again, that level design stuff is really, really disappointing, but overall, I give it if you are starving for Souls stuff, give it a shot. Worth it.
Do they have more opportunities for lying?
Yes, actually. So if you're going for the special real boy ending, there are a ton of different dialogue choices, and I think in an interesting way, you're gonna probably have mixed feelings if you like are actually kind of invested in the story of this. I personally wasn't, but it's kind of one of those things where when you are the kind of person who consumes a story and you get really engaged with it, right? You have a tendency to want to speculate and speculate a lot about the before and what led everything to this point. Lies of P's, like especially like the final act of the DLC, it is like non-stop like pick up like lore items that really, really want you to feel feelings about it. And
Okay.
like the whole final part of it is meant to be like, oh no, this orphanage is real messed up and everyone in it is dead. But it's also kind of like, to me, I never really cared unduly about all of these characters. I didn't need to know who P originally was as a real boy. It's fine, but I'm sure someone else would get more out of it if they actually cared about the story of this game at all.
All right. Note down. Lily doesn't care about the orphans. Make sure you put that down.
It's on my resume now.
There you go.
Wow.
It was going really hard. It was like there was like sad piano music playing, and it's just
Yeah.
like, and I'm just hugging the left wall, being like, "All right, just get me through this."
All right. I mean, sounds like mixed bag, as it were. No, it sounds like it's good. It sounds like it's good. Just some problems, but
Mhm. I'm excited to see what they would potentially do. Like, because again, Lies of P, like the sequel of it was kind of baited in, and the ending of Lies of P1. So I'm curious about what the studio is going to do in the future.
Sure. All right. Here we'll do some more stuff that people have been playing. Jackson, do you want to hit us with something else? What else have you been up to?
Sure. Outside of Peak, I got back into Final Fantasy XIV. I decided I'm
Alright.
like, you know what? I need a time sink. Um, honestly, I think my real motivation for getting back into 14 was like I had a weird feeling in the back of my mind of like I miss community. I miss interacting and hanging out with people, and I'm like, I think I can facilitate some of that by playing an MMO. And honestly, I did because told myself last time, like, I'm gonna play 14 for a little bit, so that way I'm like real energized and able to talk for this recording. I did not go to bed till 5 in the morning.
Oopsie.
Oops. Just because I'm like, oh, I'm getting sucked back in. I'm socializing with all my old friends that are still playing 14. We're doing dungeons and we're hanging out. We're goofing around on this online platform, socializing and whatnot. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? Maybe this might become my number one Final Fantasy to roll it back to the earlier
Yeah.
conversation where I'm just like, it pulls 14 does the cool thing of pulling from every other Final Fantasy game, so everybody is appeased and you get your little like sprinklings of like here's your little bits of 9, here's your little bits of 10, here's 16 showing up. Oh, here's your friend rolling up in the regalia from 15. And you can all do the point of like, I know where that's from. That So it's been really good. I think it's a good takeaway from the other games that I have been playing, like other social game, like talking about Peak, where I'm like, you all have a set objective you need to climb, get through it, and then in 14, it's like, oh, we can go do whatever we want. We can just hang out if we want to. We can go gamble at Golden Saucer and play fake mahjong or play triple triad and scream at each other at 3 in the morning, and your neighbors banging on your wall, being like, "What is wrong with you?" The typical MMO experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, I'm
Not
not
about what's
like,
wrong with me, it's about what's wrong with this game.
what's wrong with this game? And I'm like, I'm not sunk in like Lorelei, where I think they're all cut up now on MSQ. I'm barely in the middle of Shadowbringers. Like, I am so far behind in that game. So there's just content that I've never experienced that I can still absorb and interact with people, because people are still so enthusiastic about this game, and they just came out. They're like, oh yeah, the 7.3 update. Yeah, this the race of characters that could never wear hats can wear hats now, and you can also toggle if their ears are out or not. And it brought a whole wave of people back, being like, yes, finally.
It's
Finally
really
heads.
funny because like the glam item like dresser, because I play Viera in that game, is the hat section was almost entirely empty, and now I have to reevaluate my life decisions.
You need to go to the market board and be like, how many hats can I actually buy right now?
We're seeing a massive increase in the price of hats as every Hrothgar player buys every hat.
Well, like, and then they're also in Old Gridania, they're like, yeah, by the way, we're giving out a free Fantasia before 7.3. So if you want to go back to being one of the races that couldn't wear a hat, and you want to be able to wear hats now, here you go. We'll give you the $10 microtransaction item for free until the update comes
Nice.
out.
That makes sense. Sure.
So it's just like, it's a fun just snapback, because I don't think I stopped playing when Dawn Trail came out, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to catch up in time, so I'm just going to wait until there's a good enough amount of content where I can come back to it. But that itching feeling of, I just want to hang out with my friends. I just want to hang out with people.
I mean, yeah,
spent the
that's
money and I'm back.
that's an MMO. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I mean, I think in a big way, like there is something kind of amazing about being there, like the day a new expansion for something releases. But I also think I kind of love like the how all of that stuff blends together. So like yeah, you're still getting like the big title card, now you're officially in Dawn Trail, but I kind of again I like the illusion of believing that there's just like this infinite string of adventure I can keep following forever when I don't like keep up to date.
Oh yeah, no, because like I took a break from the middle of Shadowbringers last night, and I was like, what's the Hildebrand quest line look like? And now now I'm in the middle of like a wedding that may or may not happen, and I'm like, this is not anything related to the expansion. This is just me crashing somebody's wedding now.
I mean, I think
Crystal.
for the
Oh,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I was going to move on, but if you have more to say, go
Sure.
ahead.
I do think that, especially if you're going to go on playing, being in the middle of Shadowbringers is not a bad place to get you excited to get into the new stuff, because Shadowbringers kind of goes crazy.
Oh, I got hit with a lore bomb last night that made me go like, I need to take a break. I can't keep absorbing this. I need to stop.
Mhm. All right, Crystal, you want to give us one more thing before we hit the news?
Yeah, so I have been playing this game called Eastward on and off
Okay.
for like 2 years. And I was
I've
thinking
seen it
about
around. Yeah.
so it's a 2D Zelda-like with 2 characters that you sort of swap between controlling.
hmm
Has a very like GBA style sprite work with big blobs of color, and then they use that as a canvas for HD lighting effects on top of that.
Okay.
Um, I guess the best way to communicate the production value of this game is that every single NPC has a unique sprite and they have unique animations for that sprite, which is
Yeah.
it has this very maximalist sprite aesthetic to it that I find appealing.
Mhm.
Um, but I was thinking about like why have I never been able to just play this game 2 sessions in a row? Why do I keep taking these big breaks between, even though I enjoy myself when I do play it? And I think it's mostly because the characters talk so much. It's a very mother influence game. Everyone has a little
Mhm.
bit of that whimsical wit to them,
Mhm.
but it's just like every dialogue interaction could be half the length, maybe even a third of the length. Uh,
Jeez.
RPG dialogue is good when it is very concise, and Eastward is not concise. So every time I play it, I'm like, I feel like I've just gone to a buffet, even though I've only been playing for 1 or 2 hours.
Mhm.
So I will probably beat that game eventually because I do mostly like it, especially the art. But notes well that's why I was so scared when you mentioned that SMT5 Vengeance had a whole extra 80-hour game to it. I'm like, games are too long. It would probably be better if it was like a 20-hour route.
No, because the thing is that it's really fun to go through the levels and to get your demons and look. No, I agree with you for the most part, but also I like when there's more SMT to play because I like SMT a lot, and that's just that. Look, there are shorter SMT games. You can play the Super Nintendo version of 1. That's a good version of the game. It's not too long. Just play that. It's a good game. If you want. I'm not gonna force you.
You'll recommend.
But no, I absolutely get you. I get you. That sounds really overwhelming. That is a game. Oh,
Makes me really sad that the main writer for Eastward immediately went on to work on Gotham Knights and nothing else.
Oh no.
that's sad. That's sad. I've been aware of that game for a while just because it was one of those things where they would talk about it a lot on the. I haven't spoken about it in a while, and I don't think I've spoken about it to some of y'all new folks. But the Switch collectors Facebook group that I joined, some sick people on there. It's not good, but they brought that game up a lot there. I joined that because sometimes people will be like, "Hey, I'm selling my collection," and I'll be like, "Okay, I can get like 4 games for like $10 a pop," and that's nice. But they're also all insane on there. They'll be like, "Yeah, hey, like here's Jimbo the Jumbus the clown for $5 if you need that for your collection." It's like, I don't, but thank you. You can point out that Amazon listing because I don't think anyone's going to be purchasing that. But then you see that they do because they post on there, "Hey, I took up that Jumbus offer. I got a copy." It's like, oh boy, okay. They're nuts. Scott says in the chat, at least they're not Wii U guys. The Wii U subreddit has just kind of gotten really sad because now it's just like very obviously young people not understanding why their Wii U is like broken. They'll just be like, it's bulging. Why? And it's like because you need to replace the battery, and that's it. It's just that over and over again. Why is the screen cracked? Because you probably dropped something on it. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to get that fixed. It's just people being very sad that their console is broken because they did something to it. Like, I don't know. I did see someone today was like, because there was apparently a decompile and like one of those decompilation of Mario Kart 64. So there can be like a PC version and all that. And I did see someone post like, "Hey, when are we getting the Wii U port of Mario Kart 64?" Like, what? Okay.
Where is this coming from?
Like, you could just play that. Like, they put it out on Virtual Console. You could just play it, or I'm sure you could just download the ROM.
The Wii U's been off the air for a while now, man.
Yeah,
What?
it's very bizarre. I don't get it. Let me see if there's any other insane shit getting posted on there real quick before we move on.
The Wii U has those nice smooth discs, though.
That is true. They are very nice. There's just a lot of posts of people just being like, "Fuck the Switch 2. I bought a Wii U." Like, okay, like,
Congrats. Take it on the train.
I love it. I love it. It brings me back to my own childhood to have this like defensive-ness about the thing that you own because you're a kid and you can't afford to buy the new thing.
yeah. I mean, like, like, I'm not gonna hate on you. Like, good for you. Like, there's some good stuff on there. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, you poor bastard. You're not gonna be able to play the newest titles." I don't care about that, but
I guess it is just true that at this point in time, the Wii U has a better library than the Switch 2.
I mean, like, well, no, because there's a lot of really good Switch games. There's a lot of good Switch games.
I mean,
if you're
Switch 2
talking like
exclusives.
Okay, then I guess, yeah, technically. But if you're talking backwards compatible, then absolutely not. But also, you could play Wii games on Wii U, and there aren't really that many. I mean, there's some good Wii games, but not as many as I would say Switch games. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it.
Can you play GameCube games on the Wii
U? So okay.
If you can.
Yeah,
Can I play Jubbo the Clown on the Wii U?
No, that's a Switch game.
Dang it.
But I think they like went in there and like turned the GameCube backwards compatibility off because like it's just running a Wii. When you switch to Wii mode, it's just running a Wii. So yeah, you can just, if you hack your Wii U, you could just turn the GameCube backwards compatibility back on. So yes, you can play GameCube.
I'm going to construct the Nintendo Ouroboros of having my Wii U emulate a Wii emulating a GameCube emulating a Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
You can do that. Yeah, you play Pokemon Box on there, and you could play like Ruby and Sapphire on there, I guess.
I should hack my Wii U. It's just sitting in a box somewhere.
I mean, it's you could play DS games real good on that thing.
I have a DS. It's hard to play DS games on anything other than a DS. Nintendo kind of won on that one.
They
comes
did,
to
but
make-
that big ass screen that you could just hold and I don't know. I get it. So someone did ask Crystal, I defy you to name the exclusive Wii U killer apps. What are your Wii U killer apps?
Now, I imagine the defiance here is that many of them at this point have been ported to Switch. But Wii U had the Donkey Kong and the Mario and the Xenoblade, the Tokyo Mirage sessions.
Good stuff. Like all that stuff got ported for a reason because it was all really good. It was just people didn't play it as
What's
much.
left on Wii U? I think Affordable Space Adventures is still stuck on Wii U, and that's like it uses the gamepad so heavily that will probably never be ported.
Well, I mean, you have Devil's Third at least.
Yeah, it's. I think it's literally Devil's Third. Like I think it's literally just that. But then even then, they like ported the multiplayer to Steam, and then it got shut down because nobody played it.
What about my
So-
Nintendo Land?
Nintendo Land. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Nintendo Land, which is pretty fun. It's pretty good. It's better than fucking Welcome Tour.
Isn't it? Is there not like a Paper Mario still trapped on there, or was that
Color-
ported
Color
eventually?
Splash.
Yeah,
Color
there's a Paper
Splash.
Mario, yeah.
Yeah, that didn't get ported.
It's gone now, but when the Miiverse was around, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. There was that Kirby Canvas Curse sequel. I don't remember what it was called, but that one hasn't got ported. I think there was an exclusive Mario versus Donkey Kong game on there too, maybe. I think
you can
there's
watch
that.
YouTube on it.
You can watch YouTube.
You
on it.
can. I don't think you can watch YouTube right now on the Switch too. I think they're like having to fix that app.
Oh my
The
God.
reviews write themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I will say though, like every time I remember this, I am so shocked that they never released a Netflix app for Switch. Like, really? That's crazy.
Oh,
They just never did. They did for Wii U, not for Switch.
Yeah. That reminds me. I watched the entirety of Breaking Bad on my Wii U gamepad, laying in
That's how
bed
you do
on
it.
my side with my
Yeah.
Wii U gamepad watching Breaking Bad.
That's cinema.
That's right.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Mwah.
It's so comfortable to hold, isn't it?
It feels so good in the hands. I don't know what it is about the
It's-
Switch. It just feels bad on my wrist to hold it, but the Wii U gamepad, I'm like, oh, this is peak comfort. I can lay in any weird position. I can sit down. I can be in my kitchen. It just feels good.
I think Switch 2 is the like good middle ground for that. Like I don't mind holding it in my hands, and I think it's like a good size so you can prop it up and it's like a good screen to, potentially watch stuff on. They just need to actually release the stuff to watch on it.
I
I
think
don't
the Wii U is the last console that spun the discs, right?
That sounds right.
So I guess talking about physical games, salute to the last one to stream from the disc.
Yeah. Rest in peace to disc. All right, let's talk about some news. Do we want to? Yeah, we could keep talking about Nintendo stuff, I suppose. They had their little Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. We could just kind of quickly talk about that because they didn't really show that much new. They were just like, oh, you know what? He's got powers. You can transform in this game. You could turn into an ostrich Kong, and it looks disgusting.
When they were like detailing all of the Void Kong lore, I was like, I can tell that this was made by younger developers because this feels so much like a 2000 Saturday morning cartoon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The going story is that this was basically just a bunch of like younger devs on the Odyssey team wanted to make a new Donkey Kong game, and so they got together and did this. So yeah, we're seeing the trailer here that they showed. The big thing that they revealed for this one, and it is so weird that they obfuscated this and then announced it and all that. Like it's very odd, but they were like, oh yeah, here's this like weird rock creature, and then they reveal that actually no, the rock creature has somebody in it, and it's little Pauline. It's that's the thing where people are like, what the hell? This is messing with the lore because it's small Pauline, and you know, Cranky Kong is there, but Cranky Kong would have been young, like the Donkey Kong of that time if he was, you know. It's just it's throwing around all the fucking time, like it's fucking up the timeline and shit. And I don't, I don't fully care about that. Like I think some of it is funny, like the fact that there was like a Kong war and all that, and all the like weird lore stuff. Like I think it's funny. Like that's more what I like to talk about is how it's weird. But I'm guessing they're gonna do something about it. Like people being like pissed about it. I feel like people being pissed about it on both ends are like, I'm just like, just relax a little bit, because it's like people that are being like, if you take this even an iota seriously, you're a dumb bastard and you should go drown yourself in a pool. And then people being like, they're fucking with the lore, everything is fucked up, I don't know anything about Donkey Kong anymore, I'm so scared. It's like, you gotta chill out a little bit too. Like,
lore's kind of better when it's inconsistent. I don't want like perfect world building. I just want an accumulation of different people adding different stuff to the Donkey Kong universe over time.
Yeah, again, like they're gonna reveal, like they're gonna show off whatever is actually the truth. Like the fact that they're that they're highlighting that it's Pauline, and that they're being like, oh hey, this is, this is a big deal that she's here. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, she's just here and there's no reason for it. Like I'm sure that there will be some sort of reveal about why she's a small child in this game and all that. And
I don't know.
Find out.
Even
and if there's,
they couldn't even get Tears of the Kingdom to be like make sense as a sequel to Breath of the Wild. I don't know if they're gonna make this make sense.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is, again, these are younger devs that are apparently Donkey Kong nerds, so maybe they care about that kind of stuff more. I don't know, because like the Zelda team, they're all so like they're so weird about a lot of that stuff, and that's their own problem. But honestly, the reason why I want there to be like explanations and stuff is, again, because I think it'd be funny, and also because I want them to bring together more of the Mario universe into the Donkey Kong universe. I want them to be like, oh hey, if we got young Pauline, I want to see young Mario. That'd be funny. I want to see fucking like Foreman Spike or whatever, like I like that would be way crazier to say before the Mario movie where Foreman Spike is just in it. But I want to see them do weird shit. I'm a Nintendo nerd, and I want them to see, and I want to see that stuff. So that is just that's as far as I care about it. It's just like, yeah, I want to see them do weird shit. If they come up with a cute story, sure. If they don't, whatever, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna lose sleep, but also, yeah. And also it would be fun if they bring the Kremlings back, because I like K. Rool. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not gonna lose sleep over the plot and the characters in Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks really fun. Like that is the number one thing. Like, we're seeing all this gameplay. It looks really fucking fun. So I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna have fun with it. Sure. Like, yeah.
What would be so bad if you lost sleep over it?
I mean, do you think I will? Do you think what would have to happen to make me lose sleep?
I think only you can answer that. But I mean, like, why is losing sleep a bad thing?
Because you should get a good night's sleep. I think that's important for health.
But is it so bad to be so deeply affected by a narrative that it affects your sleep?
Oh, no. Certainly has happened to me before, but also like we're talking about Donkey Kong. And
What dark truths exist within the frames of Donkey Kong?
look, if they do end up revealing some crazy shit about like the human condition in Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'm not going to say no to that. You know, like if I play this game and I really find myself beside myself with the truth, you know, like if I learn something about myself in Donkey Kong Bonanza, I welcome that, but I don't expect it. It is a story about greed. It is I mean, you know, maybe Donkey Kong will learn about letting go because he needs to fucking let go of his banana hoard. He needs to share it with other people.
We'll learn the truth of the monkey proletariat in Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Like I said, there was like a war that happened at one point between the different Kongs. So maybe we'll see that. You know, I don't know.
I'm into this new Donkey Kong. It feels fresh.
There's definitely some hints of Odyssey there. Like it is pretty apparent that this is like I don't think they've officially said who's making this because Nintendo never does that. They love to obfuscate it until the last possible second because then it's not just like you know, it's just Nintendo making it instead of the team or whatever. But it's pretty obvious that like folks who worked on Odyssey worked on this, but it is its own thing, and it looks really cool. It looks really fun. I'm super excited for it. Like Odyssey is one of my favorite Switch games, so I'm stoked for this. Looks very cute.
So it's like gotta be like time shenanigans because I keep looking at Pauline's outfit and I'm like, those are like a rip top, like your jeans are so cuffed, you don't got shoes. Like I feel like it's some weird we went back in time or we accidentally made a machine that messes with time or makes things younger than they were before because we dug up Kremlin bones and we're trying to revive the Kremlins or something weird.
Maybe, yeah, I could see that. Someone in chat asked, do you think that there will be more than the shown Bonanza forms? Absolutely. I mean, like, yeah, I think they'll save some of that for later yeah. They'll have more costumes and transformations and stuff for sure.
I really wish because what was it? It was the Korean outlet that accidentally leaked the render of young Pauline with DK.
Yeah.
And I feel like the reveal would have been way more impactful if they didn't post all that marketing material just blatantly online and people spreading it like wildfire to be like, is this real? Is this even a thing? There's no way she's in this game.
I mean, I just think I think it's weird that they didn't just announce it. Like, I mean, if like the fact that they announced it now, you know, like because the thing is that I don't think that like that accidental posting was like something that ruined it, and they were like, well, now we just had to announce it because she's on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like the little rock guy like on the cover at first and was in the trailer and everything. And then now that she's been fully revealed, they changed the cover and everything. So I was just kind of like, you know, like people were going to buy this game and just see her and know about it. Like, why did they obfuscate it? Why did they have this like long bit where it's like, oh, it's this little rock creature. And then I guess like a little ways into the game, you know, break her out of the rock. And it's just kind of weird that, like, I feel like they should have just not revealed it and had it be a reveal in the game.
Why?
Because, well, okay, like I don't think they needed to do that per se. Like I don't have a strong feeling like, oh, that's how it should be. But like, if they were going to obfuscate it at first, the fact that then later they go, okay, now we're revealing it to you is just like, why did you hide it in the first place. Like you made it seem like a big deal, but it's not really a big deal. It's just like, yeah, there's Pauline, there she is. Like, okay.
Well, it's a marketing strategy. You get two, people might have cared about this less if there wasn't that big reveal there.
I mean, I guess, but yeah, sure. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't feel strongly enough about that. I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, there's the little rock.
I think you feel strongly about this.
There was the little rock creature, and then there wasn't. I don't know. It's just like, okay. They could have just said that it was like, I don't know. I just think logically, if they had just kept the rock creature until the game launched, then that would make sense why they have the rock creature in the first place. But if they just said, hey, Pauline is there from the start, then sure, she's there. That's fine. That's cool. That's fun. It's just weird that they revealed it now.
Well, the thing you gain from it is you get the initial E3 announcement, right? And then you get an extra boost of hype for this direct. And you wouldn't have gotten that if they had waited to the game to reveal it.
See, the thing is that that's marketing, and marketing is stupid. So
okay, that you can say that marketing's stupid.
I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm not like pissed about this. It's just kind of weird. It's just a weird way of doing it. But I guess you're right that it most likely was just them being like, okay, yeah, here's another like bump in information to get people to. Everyone's saying that I'm freaking out about it, and why are you coming after me about this? I'm just saying it's kind of weird. I'm sorry.
I'm giving you permission to be passionate about this without having to downplay it. I'm not going to judge you for it.
I thought we were just messing with John. I'm gonna be real. I thought it was just like the new hires messing with the boss right now. Just be like,
that's what it felt like.
But okay. What's so wrong? Go ahead.
What's wrong about Donkey Kong, John? Why don't you feel more strongly about Donkey Kong, John? Like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Donkey Kong.
John,
sorry, Polly. Yes.
By your words alone, what Kong should die in the newest Donkey Kong game?
Well, I think that they killed Wrinkly in DK64. I think they should finally kill Cranky. I think Cranky should die in this game.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He talks about Mario in this.
He does.
Like you go up to him and he's just like, "Oh, rivals used to be just guys and dudes in overalls, not these weird creatures. I don't get you kids."
Which, God, the lore.
Updating the wiki right now.
Yeah, updating the Kong wiki.
Yes.
They're probably
the Mario wiki is crazy. They're you gotta hop on the Mario wiki sometime. They're doing some crazy shit on there all the time.
Is it as bad as the Silent Hill wiki?
Oh, don't even get me started on that one.
It's crazy in a very different way. It's crazy in the fact that they note down so many minute details that it is overwhelming. That kind of crazy. It's not the kind of thing where people are arguing about their theories about things that happen to your body when you're a baby, you know? Like
I just really enjoy like all of the out of context like sprite dumping that happens on the Mario wiki. So it's like here are 69 distinct images of Donkey Kong in pain.
For whatever purpose you need them for. A lot of the stuff they're showing off in this direct makes more sense with the fact that in Mario Kart World Pauline has one costume. Donkey Kong has one costume, and then this direct comes out being like, you can put him in all these different outfits, and Pauline is a 13-year-old in this, and I'm like, okay, so we're getting young Pauline in Mario Kart, and Donkey Kong is gonna have a rainbow variety of colors to what is this? I've never seen this. What the
Yeah,
fuck
so
is this?
yeah, we do. Yeah, that's something we do have to mention is that they also just have Blender in this game for some reason. They're just like, yeah, here's you could just like drop a rock and then sculpt it, and that's just like a little mode that they have in the game that they randomly mention. So yeah, you could just do Blender stuff in there. It's very bizarre. I don't know why.
What, are we teaching the kids young? They're like, yeah, with this new Donkey
Yes.
Kong game, we're gonna get kids really interested in Blender, so that way when they grow up, we can hire them.
I guess so.
They know Blender. They know the Kong lore.
That's all they need. Hire them. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the fucking amiibos too. Oh my god, like that amiibo is cute, but it's $30 fucking. I can't believe that amiibos are $30. They're insane.
They're
We got to figure something out about that.
I think the ideology was like they went from being like, yeah, they're little like toy accessories for your games, and now that games are being treated more like this more bougie luxury. They're like, oh, you want a bougie accessory with your electronic thing, right? You'll pay $30 on top of your $70 Donkey Kong, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would buy the amiibos back in the day because they were cute little tchotchkes that were less than $15. And, you know, like I would use them in games sometimes, but for the most part, it was just like, yeah, I just like to have the little thing. And now I will just not buy an amiibo ever again, as long as they're $30 fucking, because that's crazy and bad.
Has the
Yeah,
quality gone up?
Kind of. I think the
Okay.
last amiibo, because I was in that first wave of when they showed off amiibos for Smash, and I was like, I'm going to get every Smash character as an amiibo, and then it like the trend slowly died off, and I think the last
Mhm.
amiibo I ever bought was the Breath of the Wild Guardian, and that
Mhm.
thing is intricate. And then I look at the Street Fighter 6 amiibos that are also $30, and I'm like, oh, the molds for Luke, Jamie look like melted plastic. Like I get a
Oh
really
no.
melty looking Street Fighter amiibo. Kimberly looks fine. Out of the main three of the new characters for Street Fighter 6, the woman looks fine. The two dudes just look like somebody took a magnifying glass to them.
that's just how Luke looks like, though.
Yeah, it's true. The Popeye character does just look like Popeye.
Yeah.
And
Jamie though,
not.
yeah, Jamie's super pretty. They shouldn't be doing him like that.
Nah, his amiibo is him after he's drank too much of his non-alcoholic tea. Because it's not alcoholic, it's just the tea is so good it makes him unleash his chi.
That's right. Don't let him think anything else. Oh yeah, something else that was asked about was yeah, the game share stuff for Bonanza, where the second player plays as Pauline on your back, and you can just like aim with the mouse, or like you can actually play it on Switch 1 as well, which is kind of weird. Where you just aim and you could just shout. So you're just Pauline like going, "Hey!" and like a big word pops out and slams into stuff, and
You're the Luma.
it's very weird.
You're the Mario
Yeah.
Galaxy Luma.
I was thinking exactly the same, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Which, you know, I don't know who is jumping at the bit to do that, but
I think that's very good if you have like a small child who can't really
yeah,
play games yet.
yeah, that works for that. Yeah, looks like a good game. I'm excited for it, and I got it. I got it from Costco, so I didn't have to pay $70.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that the
you know.
workaround? Walking in.
You can order it online, but yeah, like it's like 62 instead of 70. So
Oh.
I mean, he didn't make up the difference because he bought the difference in Costco hot dogs.
I mean, I was gonna do that anyway, so it's is it really? Oh my god, I would flip out if the Costco guy showed up and we could play Donkey Kong Bonanza together. I would love that. Are you kidding me?
They have whole kiosks set up at like a Costco.
They're just there, yeah.
With the GameStop VR guy still in the enclosure.
He's all ragged. They kept him in the same clothes since then. He's just, can I go home? No! Prodding him with a prodder.
Keep playing Beat Saber.
His arms are just really big and swollen. The rest of his body is just really lethargic and skinny and malnourished.
If he's been doing it since then, that guy has the proportions of the Orphan of Kos.
Oh boy.
John, tell me about Warner Brothers.
Sure, yeah. So Warner Brothers has happened. So there is a big ol' division of assets recently. I'm pretty sure that they split up. Let me see. I'm trying to see because I think I saw some talk about them. Okay, yeah, because Warner Brothers Discovery split up or is going to split up into some more companies next year. They have WB Streaming and Studios and WB Global Networks. Because their company is a shit show, you know? And so now they've also split up a bunch of their video game companies. So it sounds like they're just gonna have 4 different companies that are going to be working on 4 of their franchises. So there's going to be a company that works on Game of Thrones games, one that does. I guess they're just going to keep NetherRealm to do Mortal Kombat, a DC studio, and then another one to keep making Harry Potter games. Everybody, yeah.
This is so sad to like work at a studio that is forever chained to one IP.
Yeah, like even ignoring the you know, the frustrating aspect of them continuing to make Harry Potter stuff, it's like any of those is just like, yeah, God, like why are these games having to be just the same thing over and over again? You know, like even like okay, it's saying that NetherRealm is actually going to be or okay, actually, okay. I misreported this slightly. So splitting it into 2. And it's going to be one is going to be Harry Potter and Game of Thrones, and the other is going to be Mortal Kombat and DC, which does make sense because I'm sure they're going to make another Injustice. So,
in this day and age of fighting games, I hope not. Gosh, I sure hope not.
They stopped updating MK1. They're going to do something else eventually.
Oh, good Lord. I'm like, I guess this makes sense because last year, like in early October, we had rumblings of Warner Brothers being like, yeah, we want to sell all of our gaming divisions. We really don't care about our games anymore. And now them being like, we'll focus in on more, but they need to do what we say and work on what we want them to work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's also
like,
easier to sell it off later if you split it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna gut. Like, I know what's on the chopping block. Warner Brothers Montreal that did Gotham Knights? I think they're kind of up there.
Yeah, so you know that makes sense, but they did shut down like Monolith, the people because they were making that Wonder Woman game and they canceled that, and then they also shut down Player First Games because of multiverses, and then they also recently shut down Warner Brothers San Diego, which was a mobile studio.
Oh man, I don't know.
I think Scott hit the wrong button on the stream. Uh-oh. Okay, be careful, please.
Let's do it.
God.
It's fine.
Okay.
I wish NetherRealm and Rocksteady would get out from the Warner Brothers umbrella, but if they get sold off eventually to another major conglomerate that might treat them better or might give them more creative freedom, I guess it's cool for the future, but just the idea of a Injustice 3 with all the new fighting game lineups, I'm like, oh, you really don't understand what needs to be made or what the product is now in some of these genres.
Like,
why is Injustice 3 insufficient for the current market?
it feels like a really dated type of fighting game because
Mhm.
people still reference Injustice 1 and 2 for being like, hey, these games are the reasons why other studios went out of their ways to add new mechanics to fine tune everything, because it's just, it feels so stiff and weird, and like there's no like theatrics when you're playing Injustice. It is the same two buttons over and over and over, and you're not getting any fun out of it. It is literally just like hit A over and over. Who can hit A the fastest and win the match?
Who's
And like,
swinging the pig corpse or the garbage can at each other fast enough?
exactly. And like it feels odd, and like we're getting that new Invincible tag fighter game, which I feel is gonna have a struggle also. But if you throw Injustice 3 into the mix, that Invincible game looks mighty better. Because even Mortal Kombat 1 didn't play really well. Mortal Kombat 1 was still pretty much just like, who can get the first hit in? All right. Oh, I got hit. GG's. All right, good game. I'll see you next week for the same thing.
Yeah, like people, the fighting game community, I feel like is very sick and tired of the way that NetherRealm games are made. They are very stiff. They are very just, like your characters move really weird. It's so many fighting games are just way more smooth and faster, and also have like more, characters that you can be a little bit more invested in, because like, Injustice is the DC characters and you can say how DC stuff is handled, but like Mortal Kombat, like the big problem is like so many of those characters are just gonna get fucking murdered. So it's not like you can really latch on to anybody, because it's just like, oh, they're gone next game. Who cares? And then if they do come back, they're like an evil ghost this time. It's just like, who cares? I don't know. Yeah, they're the corpo people are giving all their quotes and shit and saying all that and yada yada yada, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like WB isn't really making anything that people really want to play these days. Like that Wonder Woman game could have maybe been interesting, with the whole Nemesis system and all that. Yeah, I could take or leave, but that could have been something. But it's like, yeah, Game of Thrones is such a weird thing to be making a bunch of stuff for these days, because it feels like that's kind of come and gone. Like, I know that people are still watching the Amazon show, but I don't know. It feels like making Game of Thrones games in 2025 and beyond feels a little like out of touch. I mean, Harry Potter stuff is extremely out of touch, more ways than one. And then yeah, like MK and DC, it's like those are franchises that should be kept around, but I don't think it's enough. So
I think
it's
the
bizarre.
franchises should not be kept around. I would love if they were buried by some deity.
Like like franchises in general, or just like Mortal Kombat.
These four franchises, and you know what? Yeah, as long as I'm making a wish on a genie, why not franchises in general?
When things are iterated on and made better.
You can iterate on ideas with different intellectual properties.
Sometimes I like to see the same guy come back. I like to see, like when they make another SMT, I like to see Jack Frost.
Hee ho.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I just ruined your argument.
That's true. It's hard to argue against Jack Frost. Jack Frost is pretty good.
I don't even know who
What
that
if they
guy
had a
is.
different Jack Frost in every game?
I mean, they do. It's the thing, but then they have a regular Jack Frost too, and it's great.
But then we have a Jack Frost of Theseus situation.
Yeah, which that just makes me scared, and I don't know about that. I don't like being challenged, Lily.
Dang.
I love being challenged. Please challenge me.
No, I like being challenged. I like being challenged too. I'm just kidding. All right, let's see here.
These four. Why these four? It's confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because
like,
that's what they have. That's like all
I
they have
guess.
now.
I mean, like, you could get weird with it. I mean, you got Looney Tunes, you got a bunch of Cartoon Network IPs. You can start branching out because Nickelodeon has that that top-down beat 'em up D&D type game coming out. Like,
I mean,
why
that
not get
also
weird
does
with
look
it?
pretty bad, but
It does look bad, but like they're utilizing their IPs and
They're trying something,
they're getting
yeah.
creative with it. Like, and like they yesterday we finally got the reveal for Sonic, like the new racing game, and SpongeBob and Patrick show up,
for some reason. I don't know. It's
and then
very weird.
Avatar is gonna show up.
And they're not voiced either. Like, I don't know if they just haven't recorded the voice lines or not, but like all the gameplay they showed, they just like spit bubbles out. Like SpongeBob and Patrick just don't talk in the game. It's very weird.
Tom Kenny's too busy wearing the iPhone rigged and commentating as his SpongeBob VTuber over NFL games.
He
Which
does that?
yes, he does.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which like I was gonna say, like he should be doing that. Like that's fine. I'm not gonna say anything about that. But no, it's very strange that they have no dialogue whatsoever. Very weird.
There's no water; they can't talk.
I guess not. Well, no, one of the stages is just Bikini Bottom, so there's water for that stage at least. They should be able to talk in that stage.
I hope whoever made that decision gets fired.
Yeah. I'm being very like I'm being so fucking dweeby on this episode. Oh my god.
We're bringing it out of you. I don't know what it is, but like it's either I will say something and you'll get a little dweeby with it, or Crystal is just constantly pushing you to get angry or get hatery about something.
It's you don't necessarily have to be negative. I just think you should like embrace the things that you're interested in.
I'm
embracing it. I'm just
We are all in a Fleischeresque hellscape, just like poking John with pitchforks until opinions fall out.
I'm sharing my opinions. It's just I'm not like freaking out, you know. I'm hanging out, being normal, and talking about video games on a website that I've been running for like 13 years. That's normal,
awesome.
right?
Not only is it normal, it's awesome.
Well,
I'm gonna
thank you.
gas you up a bit.
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. But you know, I'm just fucking around. We're just fucking around. We're having fun. And I hope everyone watching is having fun. That's what matters, right? I'm doing
this
the
episode
I'm doing the
just fucking around.
Yeah, I'm doing the cheap pop. I'm going chat. I hope you're having fun.
You're becoming a streamer. You're learning.
We really got to hit the Dora the Explorer core.
Can you say game sale charts?
There you go.
Oh boy. All right. So okay. Two more bits of news
to put
here.
on the wrist strap so we can be safe.
Two more bits of news here. One of them is a bit of a bummer, and one of them is just a bit of a mess. So here we'll go with the bummer first, I suppose. So a few days ago, Jay Tholen of Hypnospace Outlaw announced on YouTube and some other places that the sequel to Hypnospace, Dreamsettler, is canceled. Pretty basic conceit is that they overscoped. He, put out a whole YouTube video about it. It was basically just saying like, hey, we had a publisher, we had a budget, and it wasn't just something that we could mess around with forever until we were happy. It was something that was like we had something that we had to release at a certain point, and it just got out of control. We wanted to keep making cool stuff, and it just didn't turn into something that was viable. And that's a huge bummer, because it's just showcasing the limitations of the way that games are made these days, where, an artist can't just make something cool with the time that they have. They have to meet a deadline because there is a supposed return on investment that is expected, and that just, that stifles art.
Well, I'm reading here Tholen saying that the publisher didn't pull any funding or anything.
Yeah, it was more that I think it was more just like that they felt that they were not going to be able to meet any kind of expectation ever, because they would have just wanted to keep going until they, it was kind of self-imposed, I suppose, then. But at the same time, the fact that that was something that they felt like they had to do is, that's upsetting, that they couldn't just keep doing what they were doing. Yeah, it was.
I mean, if I can read the
Go ahead,
quote from him on
go ahead.
PC Gamer here.
Go ahead.
We just way overscoped. Things were so complicated and fancy. It's hard for me to get motivation, to find motivation to work on anything for a stretch of time. And I've not been able to do it this way where I have a design document and then I follow it. I have to improvise. Like in Hypnospace, I'm pretending to be a character and then making stuff and then following these trails to make new stuff. Things bloom from other things and then becomes this big holistic thing at the end. And if I had to explain it to anyone or put it in a design document, I couldn't do it. It just comes to me like a tree growing. So it seems to me like there was never really much of a concrete plan for this one, and then he burnt out.
Yeah, and I mean that ties into that, the like having a publisher and everything and having to meet some sort of expectation. Like from what it sounds like here, what's being reported is that the expectations were somewhat reasonable, but it was still just like the fact that there was any kind of like looming aspect to it. It was too much to bear in a way. It was just like, yeah, like there's expectations here, even if they are not overbearing. It's like they're still there, and that's just what happened. It's really upsetting. But yeah, a lot of it was unfinished. A lot of it was just kind of bits and pieces that they were working on. But they did say that they were going to release as much stuff as possible. Like they got more Chowder Man music, so that's going to be released probably. Some stuff from the Czech animation, that's already getting posted on like Blue Sky and stuff. They were going to have a whole like fake Flash creator in there. Like they said that it was going to be called Oomph. That was just, you were going to be able to make your own animations in this game like you were using Flash, which that sounds pretty overscoped to me. But yeah, okay, yeah, being told that there is a dev wiki that is archiving stuff. So, all this isn't just going to all get thrown away. A lot of this is going to be saved, and, who knows what ends up happening in the future. But yeah, it just seems like it's one of those things where it was, this was a video game that was being made by a group of artists, and the realities of creating anything these days, even if you're being supported in a semi-reasonable way, it can be overwhelming and it can mess you up, and it's a real shame. So, does anyone else have anything else to say? Because I mean, I never got too much into Hypnospace. I should one of these days, but does anyone have any big feelings about not getting a Hypnospace sequel?
I mean, I think it's always unfortunate when a dev doesn't really get to go in on a project that they were clearly emotionally invested in, and short of like the sadness of losing out on art as an experience.
Mhm.
Just kind of sucks. It's a downer.
Yeah. He did say that he's going to update Slayer's X, though. So there's hope for more dumb bullshit in that game, at least. Because that was a fun one. I actually played that. Yeah. I mean, I think that some of the staff is going to aren't working on stuff with him anymore. But he said, like, yeah, there's gonna be I because in the YouTube video, like, he says, like, oh yeah, they're gonna need work in the future, but they're okay right now. So it is what it is. Like, hopefully everyone lands on their feet. I'm sure that Jay Tholen can figure something else out in the future. Like, he was talking about making like children's games in the future, which, it seems nice. But yeah, it's just a shame that something like that happened, like it's not an impossibility. People have feelings, people have needs, and sometimes you need to let go. Last bit of news here is something that kind of went down on Twitter and Blue Sky and all that. Masahiro Sakurai, one of the guys of all time, game development wise, does like columns and stuff like that. And in one of his most recent ones, he was talking about the realities of game development. Just, some of the stuff that we've just been talking about ballooning budgets and how difficult it is for each kind of game to get out there. Like, he talked about how, like, oh, if you're an indie, you have a lot more freedom, but there's also it's so much harder to be discovered. Reasonable stuff to talk about and point out and want to have conversations about. But something that people got hung up on was he talked about the big AAA games and then mentioned generative AI in a way that can be construed as not as negative as a lot of people would like. And the initial response that people were presenting was that he was just straight up saying, well, games are super expensive. We should be using generative AI because that'll make it way cheaper. Yay! And I don't think that was the case. And I've been trying to ask someone to do a professional translation of it. I haven't gotten someone to do it yet, but I would like to. But I have seen a lot of people who are more fluent in Japanese on social media saying, like, that wasn't what he said per se. He was more saying the way that the industry is going, it is so expensive, and it feels like if games are going to continue to be made in this way, then something like generative AI is like one of the only ways we can go. So either things need to change, or a lot of companies are going to start falling to the side and they're going to have to start using all these tools that aren't necessarily the best, but are going to be what they have to use to survive. And I mean, that's just kind of the truth. And, people thinking that he's, championing generative AI, I don't think he's doing that. I think he's just being honest and being like, if they're going to keep going the way they're going, if they don't want the budgets to keep ballooning because they keep asking for more and more and more, then those are the kind of tools that are going to be used. Or they can fix their shit and they can stop asking for more and more and more and just make video games and not overdo it. Like, that's what it more seemed like he was saying. And again, like, I don't have an exact perfect professional translation, but from what I have seen folks talking about on social media, that is more what he's saying. Is just like, game development is just too fucking expensive now, and it's unreasonable to keep asking for more and more and more if you don't have tools that can churn things out, because like games take 5 or 6 years to make already. Like, but then something else that I thought about too was like, there's a lot of tools that people have been using that I feel like if they were being made now would just be advertised as generative AI. Like, I think about Speed Tree, the thing where it's just like, oh yeah, you could just make a bunch of trees. Like, I feel like if that was made today, they'd be like, you can use the power of AI to create a bunch of trees, and they'll show up in the map. And I mean, I know that's not 1-to-1, obviously, but like I think you have to kind of take into account that a lot of this stuff is just people using AI as a marketing buzzword because it makes investors excited these days. And then there's also stuff like how in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they used an internal AI algorithm to do the lip flaps for different languages, but they trained it off of their own stuff. So it was just getting rid of something that isn't really part of the artistic, creative aspect of it. It's just like, yeah, like we're not sitting here for 300 hours matching lip flaps. You know, like that makes sense to me. So, and I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like I understand why people are very like gung ho about being anti AI because like 95% of it is just bad bullshit that sucks. And then the 5% of it that's fine is like gonna be wrapped up with it because they want to get investor money, and so they're gonna hype it up the same way that it's hyped up with the other bullshit. And so it's frustrating, and I hope that people can figure it out, and I hope that the shitty aspects of generative AI are cast to the side soon, which it probably won't, but it's, you know, I think people were just a little too ready to be like, well, because people are very, very excited to quote post things with when your goat is washed because it gets them a lot of likes. So that's how I feel about that. I don't know if you all have any input on that.
I feel like it is a discussion that is for like it's going to be rife with a lot of big emotions regardless of how like what the facts ultimately dictate.
Mhm.
I think that yeah, there could be ethical and ultimately useful utilizations of things like analytical AI where it's not it's being pulled off of a small bespoke model, maybe not necessarily for something like art asset generation, because it can be useful, can be.
Mhm.
But the primary application that we see is going to be fundamentally negative because at the end of the day, the ultimate thing that the shareholders are trying to like the problem they want to eliminate, well, at the end of the day, it's paying wages.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, like, related to the ballooning of cost, I kind of want to take a second to kind of use like the lens of like horror cinema, you know?
Sure. I mean,
A lot
I'm not gonna
a
stop
lot
you.
of horror cinema is kind of basically predicated on the fact that this is a thing that we need to make with a very, very limited scope, with very little money. So we have to do what we do, and we just kind of need to use what we've got. And the thing that we end up seeing is we see these budgets inflate because there is this kind of idea, at least in the corporate space, that dumping a bunch of money into your budget is going to create a exponentially better product. And that balloons scope, that balloons marketing, that balloons a bunch of things because you're ultimately spending money to make money.
Mhm.
And I don't even think it's necessarily because people want to talk like corporate art bad, indie art good, and it's
Mhm.
not that simple. The issue largely comes from the fact that the mindset that makes these things is built on an idea that you can exponentially generate money forever, and you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And we are seeing that line shift so much so quickly because I don't necessarily want to take it too serious, but the average person has less money than ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, everyone jokes about well, I guess $80 is what video games cost now or whatever. But we are seeing this kind of market shift precipitously happen because the corporate people don't want to budge because they would really like infinite money, please.
Mhm.
And they want to push the idea of these tools as being helpful because they're investing a lot of money into said tools. And it
Mhm.
is this kind of self-cannibalizing Ouroboros where the discussion ultimately, very simply, could degenerate into AI bad, because in most applications, AI is bad. But the ultimate bigger problem is the fact that there is no one who is capable or willing to say, hey, maybe this game doesn't need a budget of $500 million.
Yeah, totally.
And the other issue is with video games, the reason why like stuff like graphics design and things of that nature that necessitate stuff like AI,
Mhm.
putting it bluntly, perhaps unkindly, graphics are kind of the only thing that the empty suits in corporate understand. Because if you say,
Totally.
okay, our graphics were this big this quarter, and now they're this big, they sit
Mhm.
there and they basically do that one Lemmy sketch where they're like, oh, that's a bigger number. That means it's better, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I think like emotions run high with this kind of thing, and people want to
Mhm.
yell at one particular guy for being wrong on the internet. Ultimately, I think the statement being made is true in the context that it represents a factual representation of what AAA game design is like at the moment.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think it equates to a value statement.
That's basically where I'm coming at it from, because like from what I've seen from the translations, he is just saying like, this is how the industry is going right now. Things need to change if we don't, like, if things continue this way. This is the kind of stuff that people are going to be using. It, either things need to change or people need to adapt to what's going on, and like that's just the truth. Like it's not like a moral stance, like I don't know what his moral is. Like I don't know if he did come out and say like, oh yeah, no, I think we should be using AI all over the place, fuck it, like that would be one thing, and I would say all right, then I would be posting my goat as washed. Don't get me wrong, I would be washing that goat all day. But like I just think he's being honest, and he's being a general speaker on the current aspect of the industry without really putting any sort of like opinion about it, like he's just laying it out.
I mean, the
What
other
are
thing
the
is,
Sorry, go
go
on.
ahead.
Uh,
Uh,
I was gonna ask, like, there's an assertion that this is like honest or the truth, but what are the success stories for generative AI in game dev?
I mean, there's it's never really like a success story. It's because the thing is like, okay, the things that people are using it for are just kind of things that get away with it, but then people notice it later. Like it's the concept of being like, oh, we could do a bunch of backgrounds and nobody will notice because it's just the background. And then people notice, and then they're like, well, that looks bad. And so
mhm.
it's it's a it's a it's a sort of like agree it's how people see that. And again, like I don't agree with it. Like I don't agree with that at all. Like I don't think that they should be doing that. I think that it should just be, they should use art to for everything, because like, if it's a good background, people notice it, and people are happy about it. Um it's just like the way the argument is just that the small things that people don't pay as much attention to are automated, so that way we could just have the artists do the stuff that is the front and center, and then people will just enjoy that aspect, and we don't have to worry about that. And then it's like, but no, because then people do notice it when it is of a good quality, and also when if it's of a lower quality, because like AI isn't gonna just make something that is just completely middle ground. So I mean, that's the argument, is what I'm saying. Like, I hope that eventually Sakurai and a lot of other people realize that, like, that argument is flawed. Because like it's something that some of the other folks pointed out, like the blue sky. I posted a blue sky thread, and I'm not. I don't know if I want to say exactly who they're, because they turned off like quotes and replies to their thread, and so I don't want to blow them up per se. I would feel a little bad.
I don't think it's really worth going into like this third hands reporting of Sakurai's words specifically, but I would like to continue this general discussion of the idea.
Well, not necessarily about Sakurai, but just the fact that, like, in Japan, it just the current discourse in Japan is a bit further behind how it is over here, where
I'm extremely skeptical of any essentialist statements of what things are like in Japan.
Sure. I mean, I will say that the person who wrote about this does live there, but I mean, sure. I mean, I think any kind of essentialist thing for any area is maybe not the best idea, but yeah, I suppose you are right in that regard. But
Lily, you were saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hmm?
You were gonna say something before?
Oh, the main thing is also just kind of in regards to the specific conversation about AI, and like beyond even just kind of the scope of like that one blue sky thread, is also just the thing that you were saying in regards to an asset being good or an asset being bad. The primary issue with things like AI is that a lot of people assume, especially like advocates for AI, that they're self-correcting, which they're not. They don't just get better with time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and again, like, it's like the average artist, when someone when a game developer, when a group of game developers sit down and they plan out what they want to do for the game, they incorporate that stuff, like, oh, hey, we're gonna have to make a bunch of barrels for this level. Either we're gonna grab some off of like the Unreal store or whatever, or we're gonna make our own or whatever. Like, that stuff already exists, but a CEO, someone who cares about the money, is gonna say, well, we should just AI generate it because that's even faster, and then we don't have to think about it, and nobody's gonna care anyway. And then people do care because it makes it look cheap. And it's, all the other problems with AI. So
Why would an indie developer not use AI?
I mean, the simple answer is because if you are making a piece of art in the first place, presumably it's because you have the passion and the desire to make it.
yeah.
But
Like,
I can also go into the Switch eShop or Steam and find many small developers producing AI slop.
I mean, those people suck. That's the answer. Those people are just churning shit out. So
I guess I just don't buy that there's a division here between the large scale of development and the small scale of development, because all scales of developments would love to compromise quality to cut costs.
sure, I suppose.
I mean, I
I
don't
guess
think that
it's the individual, I guess.
I mean, I think, again, I don't think that there is naturally an integrity to the production side of indie creation. I'm not trying to valorize it in that sense. I'm mostly pointing out the fact that in that context, like if we were talking like AI generated nothing games, a lot of those are made simply because it is easy to make a thing that nobody cares about and simply put it out as quickly as is physically possible to be a thing that costs $2. I don't even think that's necessarily specific to AI, because we saw that with the App Store market for decades at this point.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying, like, I'm not going to succumb to the no true Scotsman argument and say, well, real artists will want to make things by hand, because ultimately, it's an argument chasing itself, where you have to prove what a real artist with integrity is. Ultimately, a tool is just a tool. But at the end of the day, a lot of the supposed AI tools aren't tools if you can't control their output, their input, and ultimately what it is even applicably usable for. Like, a kind of argument I've seen sometimes people making, like, I saw a frankly disheartening amount of Steam reviews for an indie game I was looking at the other day, which was just like an RPG Maker thing, where people were like, well, your game is a lot of text. And at this point, frankly, even if you're an indie, I think these games need voice acting. And there's a lot of AI models that can generate voices for you. And someone could, in my opinion, come under the belief that, text fundamentally needs voice acting and you could utilize AI for something like that. But I think also, as a person who is passionate about making things, I think that a big part of that would be kind of design with intent. Like, if it doesn't have voice acting, it's because I didn't want it to have voice acting. And also because, maybe I didn't want to inflate the scope of my game by voice acting every bit of nonsense dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that my stance is somewhat understood. That, like, yeah, I think generative AI for the most part is just bad bullshit. But I'm just kind of saying, like, that's just where people are coming from, and I don't agree with them. That is just what it is. I don't know. Like, again, I hope that I would like for Sakurai to be like, it shouldn't be an inevitability, but I mean, this is the same guy that was talking shit about cutscenes because people posted all the Subspace Emissary stuff on YouTube and robbed us of more hype moments and aura in Smash Bros. Games. So
he was kind of right about that, though. Because, the direction he went to after that was, yeah, let's just make trailers instead, which I think was the correct decision, because a lot of those trailers are pretty good.
Trailers are really good, but I want to see them fight Master Hand and do all kinds of cool stuff. And man, I don't know.
Sora shook Mario's hands.
That is true. He did do that, and that was pretty hype. That was hype moments in aura right there. I'll tell you that much.
Hype moments in aura, really, I think, are better when they're liberated from the chains of narrative.
Hey, Mom, can you come pick me up? They're talking about hype moments in aura in the podcast. Yeah, it's okay.
So, did everyone watch the new Solo Leveling episode? No.
Oh, that's a different podcast.
That is a different podcast. That actually is a different podcast.
So I'd like to tender my resignation to Gamesline. 3 podcast episodes in.
Oh, boy. All right. We've been going on for a really long time already. Does anyone have any games that they want to bring up before we go to questions?
I'll bring up one demo that I did play this week that I think people should check out. I will say, I would love to see more opinions for Parkside Decayed Soul Manipulation. It is a relatively interesting kind of Cruelty Squad adjacent immersive sim.
How do you feel about it? What's the big scoop on it?
So, I think that it is a much sloppier execution than something like Cruelty Squad, but I think anything that is trying to do like the more expansive kind of levels and the interactions that were not developer intended can be super interesting. And it has a free demo right now, and I had a lot of fun with it.
You are taken by the brethren. That is something that's true about this game.
That's how I ended up here.
Oh, well.
Good taken.
Like I said, John found me in the backyard and he dragged me right in here.
I mean, that's not far from. I mean, that's not exactly the truth, but that's not as far from the truth as normal.
He's backpedaling.
No, let's move on.
Questions.
Yeah. Let's just do questions here. If you want to send in a question, oh boy. Okay, so I got to log back into the email. Let me see if we got any emails. Nope, nobody sent in emails. We have a whole goddamn email. podcast@gamesline.net. You can send in emails. If you want to send in a nice long question, that's where you would send it. But you can also send it to our Discord server. We have a questions room in there. You can actually probably also send long stuff in there because it's Discord. I don't know. I don't even know what the like text limit is on Discord. That's where most people send them, I suppose. And you can also send them in the chat. If you all want, we'll answer these two from Discord real quick, and then we'll take like one or two chat questions. First off is from Gue in the Discord. What do you think is the best video game movie adaptation, and which one is your favorite?
I gotta think on this one.
For me, I would say the best one is probably still the Mortal Kombat one. It's just because it's stupid as shit and it's fun. I love that Mortal Kombat movie. I also, honestly, I think Detective Pikachu is a solid flick. You know that like I'm a Pokemon guy, so getting to see Pokemon on the big screen and they're all cool and live action, that was fun. But I think it's just a chill, good popcorn flick. I didn't hate the first Sonic movie. I also didn't hate the Mario movie, the new one. All of them are 5 baggers though. Don't get me wrong. 5 bags of popcorn, no question. But no, I mean, like I would say, like if I had to pick a favorite, I guess it would be Detective Pikachu. I'm not like very married to it per se, but like that's a fine feature film. I had a good time seeing it in theaters. What about y'all? Is there any that y'all have a strong feeling about?
I quite like the 1993 Mario movie. It has this vibe of like a PG RoboCop where everything's this very gross and grimy in this world. I like looking at it.
I think if I'm separating the question into two parts, like what is the best one and what is my favorite, I do kind of have to say that I do think that the Sonic films are kind of setting out to capture the kind of spirit of Sonic a lot. And so even if like they're very clearly like children family oriented, there is something to be said for generally applicable appeal. If we're talking my favorite though, I know that it's bad and it sucks and it's mid and it has no aura and several other things that people say to me on Twitter. I don't care. I really like Advent Children. I had a good time with it.
But is that an adaptation? Because it's like a sequel, isn't it?
That's like canonical, no?
It counts.
It counts.
Okay. Okay.
If the Mario movie, the original one, is allowed to count.
I mean, the new animated movie is a different thing too, and I mean, Detective Pikachu is like a adaptation and sequel at the same time. So,
What?
sure.
If your movie isn't literally a 46-hour long Let's Play, you can't call it a video game adaptation.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair. I mean, if we're saying that, like, I would say my favorite video game movie is probably like Chip and Ironicus's Metal Gear Rising Let's Play. Sure. I mean, there you go. Yeah. um, I mean, like, sure. Jackson and Crystal. Crystal, you said the 93 Mario movie. Jackson, do you have one?
I thought about it. It's bad, but I really like both the 1994 Double Dragon movie and then the 2000s first Silent Hill movie, just because I think they both nailed the vibes of those games. Because it's like, I don't know how the Double Dragon movie did it, but like, let's flood the LA canal with so many chemicals that we can light the surface of it on fire and like all this other whack shit. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's a beat 'em up. Like, just weird shit happening, and
Yeah,
the story still
that's
continues. And then Silent Hill, the first movie, kind of loosely adapting the story that they were originally going with the cult and Gillespie and all this other stuff. Like, it makes sense, and I think they were trying to turn it towards a good sequel, and then that sequel came out and it sucked. And that sequel was really bad, and they threw Pyramid Head in for both of them for no reason.
'Cause you gotta.
You gotta. I will say the worst at video game adaptation. Recently that DMC anime. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it, and I like. This is all my own opinion, not Gamesline, etc., etc. Creator of that series coming out being like, "Yeah, I made DMC. I made DMC popular." Da, da, da. I'm like, "No, you didn't. You need to stop."
Don't. I think all of us at GameStop would agree, or not GameStop. Oh my god.
Whoa.
Line. All of us you're all working for GameStop now. No, I think we could all agree that like everything that I heard about that was doo-doo caca from a butt. So that I think that's fine to say on here. You're good.
I hope that guy buys a really big ice cream cone and drops most of it on the ground.
I mean, they're doing it. He said he's gonna do Duke Nukem next. So are you ready?
Duke Nukem fans cannot catch a break.
You're talking to one.
You can't catch a break, Sean.
I mean, listen. I just like the map design in 3D.
Okay.
I think Duke 3D is fun. That's it.
As an employee of GameStop, I think that the Duke Nukem show will probably be pretty bad.
I did have one more game movie. Sure. I was thinking a little bit more about like adapting elements of the games. So you know how in Pokemon there's a lot of this like glitch based folklore around it, Mew under the truck, Missing No, Glitch City, stuff like that. I think Pokemon 3, the movie, actually does a good job of adapting that energy, because the setup of it is a girl like discovers the unknown and makes wishes to like create her own little world. And that to me is what it felt like as a kid in the ruins of Alph, looking for some great secret of the unknown.
Yeah, I when I was a kid, I was obsessed with all the glitches in Gen 1 Pokemon. That was like my favorite thing in the world. So that's totally. Yeah. But like and yeah, like nowadays you think about Unknown and it's just like what the hell's going on with those things, but they were so interesting and so cool because of that movie. And then the mysteries of what was going on in the ruins of Alph and all that. It was cool. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. All right, let's see here. Solon has asked, Jackson, you got a question from Solon here specifically for you.
Ready?
Dear Dr. Jackson, how is the sustainability of fighting games right now? It seems strong with a lot of new games. Yeah, you're kind of talking about that earlier. It seems strong with lots of new games, old games being rescued by rollback, and Soul Calibur 2 is back. But are the tournament scenes keeping that momentum? Are online communities keeping up with all these games without spreading too thin?
The beauty of shifting from in-person tournaments to online tournaments is that you can never spread it too thin, because you're always going to have a group of people willing and actively looking for their specific game to play in. And
Yeah,
we
Fightcade.
have Fightcade now and whatnot, and we have major tournament organizers like Tampa Never Sleeps and
Mhm.
like the Combo Breaker guys kind of going back and doing their own thing. So like sustainability of fighting games really good, just because of the advances in technology and whatnot. Because back in the day of like the reason why Street Fighter 2 isn't so popular is because Street Fighter 2 didn't come out now, where
Mhm.
you have people willing to be like, yeah, let's do a big old Street Fighter 2 tourney and get a bunch of people together. And you got to like actively search for that now if you're a big Street Fighter 2 head or whatever. But I'm trying to read the rest of the question. Yeah, like new games are keeping it going, and a lot of the old games are getting resurrected, or they're getting like updates where like even Arxis will go back and be like, oh yeah, we added rollback into Exerd, so if you want to play Exerd again, there's rollback netcode. Oh, by the way, we're testing a beta for Accent Core R if you want to play Accent Core R with rollback. Or even recently, I think last year they were like, yeah, we put a beta out for rollback in the Persona 4 Ultimax. We're just gonna make it an official update, so now Ultimax has officially supported rollback. So like the community and the companies are keeping these games alive. And yeah, like out of left field, Nintendo being like, oh yeah, by the way, Soul Calibur 2 is going to be on the Nintendo Classics for Switch 2. And I've seen people in my area in Seattle be like, hey, we're doing a big local meetup. We're going to play Soul Calibur 2. Bring your own GameCube controller, or we'll provide you ours. We have a bunch of wireless ones if you want to try them. So it's like, it has never been a better time to be a fighting game player or get into fighting games, but we're slowly seeing the homogenization of fighting games. We're seeing the thing with a lot of games in the industry where they're kind of all blurring together and they're trying to pump out the next big thing.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't think Guilty Gear Strive is going to get another year of DLC because they just released that Marvel trailer for their new Marvel fighter. And because Arxis put out their Marvel fighter, a lot of people are like, oh, Capcom's not going to make a new Marvel versus Capcom. This sucks. Da, 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 da. And you start getting infighting and all this other stuff. So it's a weird, it has never been a better time, but also a weirder time to be a fighting game player. Like, even I still have my own hesitations of like, I want to enter into a tournament, but I know this game's not going to be supported in the next couple of months. So I don't know if I should dive into the competitive scene of it and become part of like the weird niche community of people that still play it.
Yeah, I would say the big problem is just that because so many games are coming out so quickly, once something stops being supported, it dies, and that shouldn't be the case. Like you think about how long people stuck around on Street Fighter 4 or like Marvel versus Capcom 3 and all that, but now it's like, yeah, like when they stop putting out DLC for Strive, people are going to fall off the Strive, and that's like, it was huge. So many people have bought it, and it should be something that sticks around. And like people dropped off of Exerd, and there's still a market. Like there's still people playing Exerd. Like there's still people playing any fighting game. Like back in the day, there are all the stories of like, yeah, you could go to Evo or you can go to like one of the big tournaments, and someone's gonna have a hotel room where you could play like fucking like Karnov or something, like there's always going to be someone playing something everywhere. But you think about the communities, these you can go to a local to play Street Fighter 6 now, but in a few years, if they whenever they make Street Fighter 7, it's like, if you really like Street Fighter 6 and then you don't really like Street Fighter 7, you're kind of shit out of luck, in a way, like you can still find some community that sticks around to that, but like, like who's playing Street Fighter 5 now? Like on that scale, like of course not. And there's still people playing like the real classics, like Street Fighter 2 and like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and stuff like that. But it's just like it's just a weird, like it's just a weird thing where it feels, because people are chasing after the money, and you can understand why. Like you look at all these tournaments where you're winning so much money for placing and all that, but it's just like, it's just a bit of a shame where it's just like, yeah, they stopped putting out DLC for this game, so it's dead. It's like, what? No, like this should be when it starts to thrive, because people are gonna get better and better at it and learn the game, and it's gonna evolve, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, because like at that point you have the definitive version of your preferred fighting game. So you should be able to go all in now, but because of the way the community is hardwired in their brain, where it's like no DLC, dead game, no motion inputs, simple inputs. This game's not a fighting game; it's a child's game, and stuff like that. Where like nobody's willing to change and adapt. And the mindset of fighting games, where it's like, if I mess up, I can't blame anybody but myself. So why am I going to put myself through the ringer of an old game that people that have been playing it for so long are really good at it, when I can go and pick up the new thing with a bunch of other new people and learn with them?
Yeah.
Instead of constantly getting thrown down. And like, I speak of this
that makes
personal
sense.
experience. Yeah. Where it's like, I wanted to be a third strike player. And my age, I am way under the age of the demographic of professional third strike players. Like, I am not over the age of 35. Like, I am not one of those guys, but like, I still put myself through it because it's just like, I love the game. I love the way it looks. I love the music. I love the way it feels. And I will continue to put myself through it because there is a community for it, and people who are willing to teach you and are super enthusiastic when it's like, oh, there's a bunch of new people that want to learn this game that I've been a fan of for years. Yeah, no, let's get into it. Let's make a little Discord server and start having conversations about it.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is that something like Third Strike will always have a new wave of people getting into it. It's just like this more recent era of games where it feels like that hasn't really populated yet. Like, like I don't see people being like, oh yeah, let's get together and do a Street Fighter 5, tournament, or like, hey, here's the Discord where we're all hanging out and learning Street Fighter 5 together, or stuff like that. Like that. I feel like that doesn't, I'm sure that exists in some capacity, but it's nowhere near as much as Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2, Marvel 2, Guilty Gear, Accent Core, and all that. Like, I just think that there's this era of, like, I would say the past like 10 or so years, where just like, when that game stops being supported, it just, for the most part, dead, and that just feels, it's disappointing, because a lot of those games are really great.
They're really good, and like, it creeps into the development side, where even developers now are like, hey, we're done doing DLC, here's our new game, get to it, jump on it, jump ship right now.
Yeah, like just what we were talking about with Mortal Kombat. It's like the fact that the fact that it's like they're like, we're not doing any more DLC for it, and everyone's just immediately like, all right, when's Injustice 3 coming out? Tick tock. It's like, why don't you play Mortal Kombat 1 for a little bit? Like, the game is finished. Like, play it now. It's there. It's yours. Play it. It's just like, no, we need next thing now. It's like, that's super bizarre to me. But that's just how it is, because like, they're not going to get the support anymore. There's no more trailers to get excited for. We're done with it. Goodbye. Really? What? Okay.
There's no more aura and hype moments. I don't
No
care.
more hype moments and aura, everybody. We're done. Sad.
Hopefully that was a satisfying answer to that question for you.
Yeah. Crystal and Lily, I know that this was supposed to be a Jackson question, but I hopped in too. So do either of you have any opinions about fighting games in today's atmosphere?
I'm still bad at them.
I'm not really a fighting game person, so I'm just sitting here patiently.
Okay. So, they mentioned it in the chat, but hey, guess what? Someone the spite is a or I don't know if spite is what they were exactly. That someone said I sent in an email in the hopes of making John happy. You know what? You did. So even I guess it's not spiteful. It's to appease me. So finally, someone appeases me instead of teases me. Thank you, because that was the entire show. It's just been people poking at me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Poifa in the chat. Thank you for real. Thank you. The email says, "Hey, games liners, it's Ina. Which Donkey Kong characters do you think could eat 15 ice cream cones at once without getting a headache? Thank you."
Lanky Kong.
Lanky, yeah.
I don't think Lanky feels anything. Like I think that he would eat those ice cream and it would just be like I don't think he could process the like concept of cold. He's like a fucked up homunculus.
Not a real creature. It's a clay golem.
Monkey
some
as
sort.
imagined by Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like that is just something that all Kongs would be able to do. Like, I just look at this and I'm just like, I think Kongs can just eat whatever. Like,
So
they're big apes. They like.
Are you
are gonna eat
implying that
the-
like Kong is like a title you earn after eating 15 ice cream cones?
No, they're like, they're just. They're apes. I don't know. That's just what they are. I'm. I don't know. Could like a real gorilla eat a bunch of ice cream cones? I mean, they would probably get brain freeze, because they're like, because we get brain freeze. So
I don't think.
yeah, Diddy Kong is a monkey. That is true. He's got a tail.
Yeah, but he's still a Kong. He's still
a
part of the
Kong.
group.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Donkey and Diddy can't, but Dixie and Candy can, and it makes them really mad. And it's like something they like passively work towards, and then when they do it, like Dixie and Candy are like, we don't care. Like, this doesn't mean anything.
You are describing like an episode of that old animated like Donkey Kong series.
That I was about to say that is 100% just from the animated show. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, if we're taking that into account, then yeah, I guess Yeti Kong would be eating all the ice cream because he's in the cold. He's a Yeti.
Yeti Kong? I'm looking
There's a Yeti
up. Hold
Kong,
on.
Yeah. Are we gonna have to? Okay, so Bluster Kong can't, but Leah Luster can.
What are you saying?
I'm learning so much.
Oh man, now I'm just everyone's saying like, oh, John with the lore and all that, he should be going into it more, and now I'm out here talking about fucking Leah Luster. Oh my god, yeah, it is all available on YouTube now. They put it up. I don't know if they did that to line up with Bonanza or what. I don't. Donkey Kong's not one of my favorite Nintendo properties. Okay.
Do you think Funky Kong could do it?
Oh, totally. 100%. Funky Kong.
I think Funky Kong would get a headache, but he would try to tank it and not show it.
Oh, so he's crying behind the sunglasses.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he walks behind a corner so nobody can see him, and then he like curls up into a ball, and he's just like,
He's like, oh, he's like trembling behind his surfboard.
oh, why did I do this?
Funky Kong is like the LA Beast of Kongs. I could see that.
I was just thinking, I'm like, he's not gonna eat them like one at a time. He's gonna put them all into like a big like banana float and then chug it. And he's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Have a good day. Yeah, exactly. And like 10 minutes later, he'd be yarfing like crazy, and he would that would be on the that would be in the video. Oh yes, the new Bonanza Kongs. We can't forget them. Do you think Grumpy Kong and Void Kong and Poppy Kong could do it?
Poppy's not doing it. Poppy's watching them and just shaking their head no. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah, Nah, I'm not participating in that. But then Void Kong is like, I'll do it for evil.
First
Or
ice cream
whatever,
in,
I guess.
First ice cream in, Void Kong, headache, freaking out, and then Grumpy's
Tapping out.
on their tapping out, and then Grumpy's on like their 30th cone. Like what?
Wait, there was a contest? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Donkey Kong. But thank you, Ina, for the question. Let's do one last question from chat, and then we'll wrap this up. Unless y'all have somewhere to go. I don't want to keep you too long.
I'm chilling.
Oh, Maverick's asking. Okay, Maverick is asking. Do you think that Banjo and Conker could also eat the ice cream?
Oh. Conker's too hungover to do it.
Yeah, Banjo absolutely. Yeah, Kazooie, because I think Kazooie would also be someone who's like above it, but also I think Kazooie could do it. Like Kazooie wouldn't want to do it, but Kazooie could do it.
Going off what you were saying, Lilith, I think Conker is so hungover all the time he wouldn't even notice the brain freeze.
Mm.
He just passively has a headache 24/7.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, is there like is there like a 90s movie where someone eats a bunch of ice cream because then Conker could just do that and it would be an epic reference?
Don't they do it in like Weird Science?
I feel like that's too niche. It needs to be something like The Matrix or Saving Private Ryan. So, like I don't know.
They overly sexualize a woman in Weird Science. You thinking Conker's not gonna watch that?
Gex would watch that.
Okay.
Could Gex eat 15 ice creams without getting a headache?
We're just going down the pipeline now.
Yeah, no, he's too weak. I don't think Gex could do it.
We're doing this now rapid fire smasher pass style.
Yeah.
Could Winston Overwatch do it?
Yes.
No.
Okay, why not? Why not?
He'd tap out.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 in, he'd tap out.
This is too much for me.
I think that's officially a sign that we've been on this for too long.
All right. Yeah, you know what? Let's just end it here. This is good. This is good. Let's not overdo it. But thank you so much for listening, everybody. This is a good time. This is a good chat too. Y'all were great here. Thank you. So let's go through where people can find us. Of course, our website is gamesline.net. You can go on there to check out stuff that we post, episodes of the podcast, reviews, etc. You can follow us if you're still on Twitter, which, I mean, you probably shouldn't be. But if you are, it's on Twitter. It's at the Gamesline. Our Blue Sky, which is the cool place to be, is just gamesline.net. You can go on there. Follow us on there. Tumblr, gamesline.tumblr.com. Facebook, facebook.com/gamesline. YouTube, youtube.com/@thegameslines. You have to do the @ If you don't, it doesn't come up. And twitch.tv/gamesline.tv. If you're listening right now, that's where you are. If you're listening later, you can come and watch our stream. It's Sunday at 5 p.m. Central. And we've been doing this every week for the past 3 weeks, and it's been fun. So we're probably going to keep doing that. If you like what we're doing, consider giving us $3 on Patreon a month. If you do that, you get access to our anime podcast, Unlimited Railworks, a whole week early. And you're just supporting us as well. If so, that helps us buy games and do hosting and equipment, because we're probably going to have to buy some equipment soon for some of the staff and all that. And again, for hosting, it really helps us keep the site up. So please, it is just $3 a month for that. I mean, we'd really appreciate it. That would be really cool. If you want to come hang out with us, we have a Discord server. I'll type it in to the chat. But you can also just go to thegamezone.zone. You type that into your web browser, and it'll bring you to the Discord server. where we hang out in there and we chat and we sometimes do stuff. I've been batting around this idea, and I don't know if it's a perfect idea or if it's kind of stupid, but I was thinking about doing like a shiny hunting tournament in there, playing Pokemon, catching shinies. I don't know. Could be something. Could suck. I don't know.
We will have a community event where we force John to learn one fighting game of your choice.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I like fighting games. We can do that. And for a theme song on the recorded episodes, we have it's Crush off of the album Magic is Real by Melt Channel, now known as Magic Circuit. If you want their older stuff, it is meltchannel.bandcamp.com, and their new stuff is magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. And make sure that you buy it on the first Friday of the month, because that's Bandcamp Friday, and they'll get all the money. That's the nice thing to do. Maverick saying for $100 you can make John learn about the Uma Musume game. There's a non-zero chance that I'm just gonna download that because it's it's gonna be the thing to talk about. And I will probably and I might be bored on that day. I don't know. But yeah, okay. Crystal, where could people find you?
Arcane Crystal on Blue Sky, other podcasts at audioentropy.com.
Any that you want to specifically shout out? You know, I know that you do a lot of podcasts. Is there anything? Yeah, choose one to sell to everybody real quick.
Oh, I have to pick my favorite child. Eidolon Playtest, an actual play podcast. 2 campaigns. One is a bunch of cyberpunks. One is the corpos they're fighting against.
Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. Jackson, where can people find you?
You can find me at Twitter and Twitch at Lumberjackson, or alternative link for Twitch is monkeythrows.rocks. You can find me on Blue Sky if you type in your URL bar funnymonkey.online. I'm going to be streaming all week. This is what I usually do. That's what I do outside of Gamesline. Other than that, I don't know. Look forward to some reviews. I'm drafting. I got to get them finalized so I can get them looked at.
Cool. All right. Lilith, where can people find you?
You can find me at your local GameStop or
She works there.
galas.tura at bluesky.com.
Yeah. She works there now, so you know she's gotta be there. At every GameStop, there's a Lilith just waiting for you.
I exist in a state of quantum superposition.
Yeah, wonderful. And you can find me on Blue Sky as well. It is john.gamesline.net. You know, because I like to rep the brand, as it were. And also, again, shout out to Scott for the production as well. Thank you so much, Scott. If you want to follow him, yeah, Scott, you can say what if you're still on here. What's your Blue Sky? I don't even know if he's on here anymore. Okay,
He just vanished.
Yeah, Scott may have fallen asleep. I don't know. We'll see. All right. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We will be back next week with another episode of the Gamesline podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you later. God does have to turn the stream off, though, so...